The Miami Hurricanes are here, and when these two programs get together, more than football teams meet, worlds collide. And never have they staged a more meaningful contest than the one set to unfold right here in prime time.
Is it possible for one game to mean everything? A straight path towards the inaugural ACC title game. A firmer place at the top of the polls.
Hands down, I really think it's going to be the game of the year.
A stronger case for inclusion in the national championship game.
It could definitely be big towards the BCS standard.
Everyone knows it's on the line.
Recognition for individual talent. Validation of a football philosophy.
You better get that helmet on tight because it's going to be a really tough football game.
The big game in town. We know we have to play our best to beat these guys, especially on the road.
Momentum to spare. Memories to treasure.
That's why you come to Miami to play for these kind of games.
Is it possible for one game to mean everything?
Everything that we worked for all season comes down to this game.
This game is just another step on the road to where we want to be.
The team that flinches is going to be the team that loses.
It's one of those games for everything.
The answer is yes, when the game is Miami, Virginia Tech.
Welcome to ESPN's College Football Primetime presented by Polaroid. Tonight, it's an ACC Coastal Division showdown between number 5 Miami and the third-ranked Virginia Tech Hokies. The winner will have the inside track to the first ever ACC championship game. ESPN Saturday Night College Football is broadcast in high definition, presented by Phillips. Lane Stadium. It may be the loudest stadium in America. All kinds of terminology has been used this week as to what you could identify Blacksburg with. Today is the epicenter of college football. And loud, listen for yourself. Come the Hokies, and as they get to the opening in that tunnel, they will all jump up and touch the Hokie stone and then take the field, and here they come. Of Miami. Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin, along with Bob Davey and Holly Rowe, and we'll be going to Holly very shortly down on the sideline. I'm still trying to get the hair on the back of my neck to go down right now. If this doesn't turn you on, then you need to go get your heart checked. This is the time of year in good conferences, which the ACC certainly is, where big teams start playing each other and knocking each other off. Bob, the thing that excites me most about this ball game, they are statistically the two best defenses in America.
Ron, I promise you there will be some big-time, and I mean big-time collisions on this field tonight. Both defenses have great speed, explosive players at every position. Both have attacking schemes that are fun to watch, And most important, both defenses have a long tradition of playing with great confidence and swagger, and it's no secret, Ron, they flat tried to intimidate the other offense.
All right, now, Bob, let me ask you this. So they're 1-2 statistically in defense. So let's say the defenses cancel each other out. What is step number 2 for either of these teams to have success?
I think it's simple to come down to which one of these young quarterbacks can handle the pressure, which one can execute. For Virginia Tech, Marcus Vick, there's been a lot of talk about him, but tonight is only his 9th career start. Tonight will be his biggest test, but he is talented and doesn't get rattled. He's an accurate passer. He's number 2 in the nation in pass efficiency. For Miami, tonight is Kyle Wright's 8th career start. He's also talented, but he has struggled against the good defenses. He threw 3 interceptions last week against North Carolina. He's ranked 44th in pass efficiency. Ron, both these young quarterbacks have a big old target right on their back tonight.
Holly Rowe, we prepare to go down to the sideline to you. Bob's talking about the importance of the young quarterbacks. Yeah, I think you've got more on how important some running backs are in this football game as well, don't you?
That's right. One way to take the pressure off the QB, run the ball. And for Virginia Tech, the biggest question this week has been the health of Mike Emo, their starting tailback. He's had training all week. He's been able to practice. He's also had treatment. But maybe the most helpful thing was the extra mojo he got before the game from backup quarterback Corey Holt. They're trying everything to make sure this guy can go. He is their leader on the sideline. He gives them a spark in the backfield, and he's got a capable backup behind him, Cedric Humes, for a great 1-2 punch for Virginia Tech. We'll see if their ground game can get going against the top defense in the country, Miami Hurricane.
Okay, Holly, we look forward to hearing from you tonight. It's number 3 against number 5. We're so glad you're with us this evening here on ESPN in high definition. Back with the opening kickoff right after this.
ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, one taste and you get it. Microsoft Windows. Start something passionate. Start anything you like. And Budweiser Select. Finally, bold taste meets a clean finish. Expect everything.
Welcome back to Blacksburg, Virginia. This is the toughest ticket that they've ever had in this town, and it probably is the most important game that they've ever played here in Blacksburg. You're looking at SkyCam, our camera that provides coverage like none other in college football as it hovers over the field of play. Now tonight, we have a unique opportunity for you. This game is going to be simulcast on ESPNU. Each play will be covered exclusively by SkyCam, so when you get a chance, check out ESPNU and see the game from another perspective. Miami won the toss. They have deferred. It will be Virginia Tech receiving. Brian Monroe has the ball teed at the 35-yard line. Royal and Josh Margan are the 2 deep men for Virginia Tech. There's a look at number 4, Eddie Royal, former player of the year in Virginia high school football. Standing at the goal line, this one is going to be returnable. High spinner, going to be taken by Royal at the 3. To his right, 15, and stopped at the 17-yard line. So let's talk about the starter at quarterback this evening for Virginia Tech. The name is familiar, Vick, but this young man is Marcus Vick.
And Ron, last week, 22 for 28, 280 yards, 0 interceptions against Boston College. His best game as a Hokie. But you know what? That speed index just went up on defense tonight.
Virginia Tech will open it with 2 tight ends, Kinzer and Jeff King. Miami shows blitz. They come with it. Play action. Going to go on top on first down. Got a man. Flag is down. Jeff King, who had a touchdown pass in last year's ball game down in Miami, was the intended receiver. And it would appear that we're going to have, well, let's wait and see. Where the marker has been thrown, it would appear pass interference. They're going to call holding against the Hurricanes.
And right away, you see Virginia Tech's best weapon, Jeff King, the big tight end. The true freshman safety, Kenny Phillips, holds the tight end, Jeff King. USA High School Player of the Year last year in all of high school football. Kenny Phillips got caught up in the play action and called for the holding penalty.
So with the penalty, they have moved it out to the 28-yard line. It'll be first down for the Hokies. Again, 2 tight ends in the ball game for Virginia Tech. They go with a running play. Off the right side, Mike Emu, and he's going to have about 3 yards, and that is it. Here, the starting lineups brought to you by Garmin. First of all, for the Hokies on offense. You can see Emu just carried the football. The man to take out a look for tonight, Eddie Royal, the speedster out of Herndon, Virginia. As we said, former player of the year in high school. Had a touchdown last year. Big play guy. They need a big-time play out of him tonight. And then the offensive line, Martin and Montgomery. They're the veterans. Over 60 starts between the two of them. That is the side of choice when they need short yardage. Second down. It's 8. They need to take it out to the 38-yard line. We'll check that defense after this play. Merriweather, the safety, creeping up. They come with the blitz to the opposite side. Emu's going to be tackled for another short gain, only a couple of yards, as Rocky McIntosh is there to wrap him up. Here are the starters on defense, brought to you by Garmin for the Miami Hurricanes. Those 2 tackles, Atkins and Orion Harris, we'll call their names a lot tonight. They really can blow up an offensive line, so to speak. And Rocky McIntosh, he's the guy that tries to get them lined up in place. Grandmother named him Rocky. Second leading tackler on the team with a 58. And in the secondary, Brandon Merriweather. We talked about him. He was coming up to blitz a moment ago. He's a blitzer. He's also a hitter. Third down. Miami shows blitz. There's movement. It looked as though Jason Murphy, the right guard, came out of his stance, as Jack Childress will make the call.
Prior to the snap, false start, 72 of the offense, 5-yard penalty. It's still third down.
Ron, have they ever kept a stat over the years, I'm talking about the NCAA, of which defensive front forces more false starts? It has to be Miami. That false start right there, a direct reflection of how much speed and explosiveness Miami has up front on that front four.
Well, we should talk about last year. Out of 66 total plays in the ball game, Virginia Tech ran the ball 48 times. Emo has carried for short yardage on the first 2 carries for him tonight. And right now, following the penalty, third down and 11. They roll the pocket. Vick got a man, and it's almost intercepted. That was Marcus Maxey, who cut in front at a very dangerous pass on the part of Marcus Vick.
And a lot of people around Miami football say Marcus Maxey is the fastest Hurricane. Watch right here as he undercuts this ball, goes for the interception. And don't blink in the kicking game, because Devin Hester back as the punt returner for Miami.
Nick Schmidt, redshirt junior out of Salem, Virginia, standing back to punt. He's a left footer, which Virginia Tech seems to have a history of having in that position. They got a return on. Wobbly spiral. Hester on the retreat. Backs up to the 24-yard line. Right up the middle. Crosses the 30. Tackled at the 35. DJ Parker, a substitute at free safety, is the man who got downfield to make the stop. 46 on the punt and 8 on the return. Kyle Wright, sophomore, hometown Danville, California.
And in some ways a little bit tough to evaluate Kyle Wright, because he has not had, Ron, a whole lot of pass protection this season, and that is a problem this Miami team has had, protecting the passer. And listen to this crowd. This is a very intelligent crowd here in Blacksburg. They're loud when the Hokies are on defense, quiet when they're on offense.
Tyrone Moss, along with James Bryant, opening in the backfield tonight. And it'll be Moss. Goes to the right side, and just as Emo was greeted with literally a wall, Justin Hamilton, the first man to come up and make the hit. Let's take a look at the Garmin starters for the Miami Hurricanes. As far as the specialists are concerned, Ryan Moore, the wide receiver, junior out of Orlando, big play man, and the head coach says we got to get the football to him even more. With the offensive line, Eric Winston, they moved him over from tight end, an outstanding tackle Pros can't wait to get him to the next level. Moore goes in motion. They go with the draw play. Hit behind the line of scrimmage. Moss is going to be knocked down to the first man through. Jonathan Lewis, a senior out of Richmond, Virginia, the left defensive tackle. Here are the starters on defense. Ellis Powell, Lewis, who just made the tackle, but Darryl Tapp. He's the man who keeps the lunch pail, which is the award for outstanding hustle each week. The two linebackers, Hall and Adibi, blessed with extremely good speed, and they like to bring them in blitz situations. In the secondary, Jimmy Williams, an All-American, gave up a touchdown last week. Wants to make amends for that. Third down and 11. They give it to Hill. Fudrin Hill going to be tackled as he crosses the 37-yard line, and it'll be punting time now for Miami.
And Ron, I want to say something about this crowd here in Blacksburg. There's a lot of places in college football where fans just show up to watch the game and be entertained. Here, they come to help the Hokies win. They are quiet on offense, and they are loud on defense, and they are really loud in these punt block situations. They appreciate defense and special teams.
So we're going to go to break. They're trying to wipe off the timeout, but Jack Christensen said you can't do that. We'll be right back. So we are back in Blacksburg, no score, and let's give you a look at what Virginia Tech saw, and they had to call a timeout. 39, Monroe is the punter. He split out wide to the right. Hester was lined up where the punter normally is. He is the speed demon. So, good coaching on the part of Larry Coker, wouldn't you say?
It's really good coaching because it forced Virginia Tech, Ron, to burn a timeout.
Tell you what, that blocker almost got pushed into it. Return from the 25, 30, 35, 40. That's Morgan, Josh Morgan. Great field position for the Hokies. It's 37 yards in the punt and 17 on the return. Leon Williams made the tackle. Larry Coker, a little sly box treatment that he gave the Hokies. 5th season at Miami. You see his record, 50-7 against Virginia Tech. He's 2-2. Frank Beamer, many people call this stadium and all the renovations that have gone on, they call it the house that Frank built, and he has truly done a magnificent job here in Blacksburg, Virginia. 19th season, took a job that at the time not a lot of folks wanted. About to go on probation, and money was slim in the athletic department. He has really turned that around. Vick comes down the line of scrimmage, nothing doing on the option play, and very wisely held on to it as Thomas Carroll is there defensively to put the stop on him.
Ron, you go back to Larry Coker and Frank Beamer. One guy has built the program as we look at Frank Beamer. The other has maintained that program. When you talk about Larry Coker, I promise it's a lot more fun, in a lot of ways, a lot less pressure if you build the program. A lot tougher to maintain that tradition at Miami.
I was going to ask you which position would be tougher and which one you would enjoy more. It's got to be 2nd down and 10. They're going to take it across midfield to the 48. They going to go far side, thrown too tall, intended for Justin Harper, the sophomore out of Catawba, North Carolina. Kelly Jennings on the cover. And for people who might have joined us late and did not see the open, one of the things you got to understand about these two teams that are the top 2 teams statistically in the nation in defense, that all season long Virginia Tech has given up only 7 first quarter points.
And I think tonight, Ron, will prove that 2 great defensive teams can be just as entertaining as 2 great offensive teams. I know you're a big fan of defense,
yes,
but this can be just as entertaining.
2 receivers to the right, which is the top of your screen, Justin Harper and Josh Hyman. Here comes pressure, hit from behind, ball is loose, picked up by Miami. Nope, could not hold on to it. And as they scramble, it would appear that Miami has recovered the ball that came loose, and it was Thomas Carroll who made the hit and caused the turnover. The man who recovered it, Rocky McIntosh, the fellow we were talking about in the lead-in tonight. Let's take another look at it, Bob.
And just the speed of Thomas Carroll from the backside strips that football out of there. He beats Jimmy Martin, who is Virginia Tech's best pass blocker, and a huge turnover early in this football game.
So they scrimmage from the 29-yard line of Virginia Tech. No score, but the first break goes to Miami. Big opening, has 5, has 10, into the secondary. Moss will take it inside the 15, and he's down to the 13. Justin Hamilton saved a touchdown. It was James Anderson who had a shot at him, and he ran right by.
And in this day of spread offenses with little scat backs running sideways, Tyrone Moss, that eye back, takes it straight down the hill. Got 195 yards last week against North Carolina.
Good look at Moss. Olsen and Ortega, 2 tight end set. Moss, nothing to the left, takes it right up the middle, crushes his way inside the 10, and he's down to about the 9.5-yard line. Jimmy Williams.
Did you not get that last?
Tyrone Moss, 689 yards in the season, an average of just over 5 yards per try, 12 touchdowns, leads the Atlantic Coast Conference. Kyle Wright. Play action. Rolls it to his right, got a man wide open, and he overthrew Greg Olsen. Olsen is down there saying, oh my goodness, that was 6 points, and we had it. Chris Ellis was applying pressure on Kyle Wright.
Great play action fake. Greg Olsen on the crossing route, and he is wide open. And you won't get many opportunities like that, Kyle Wright, with a wide open pass receiver. Should have been a touchdown run.
You know, Bob, it goes back to big game situations like this, and we always say it. When you get that opportunity, you got to take advantage of it because the window is not open that many times. 3rd down, got to take it to the 4. Fade route right over the middle, incomplete. Buck Ortega was the man he was looking for, and it is 4th down. And if you say there is a victory in this situation, unless they run a fake and score a touchdown, it will be at least a moral victory for the defense of Virginia Tech.
No question, and it should have been a touchdown for Miami. But keep in mind, Kyle Wright, the quarterback run, only his 8th career start and his first, I promise you, in an atmosphere like this here tonight.
John Petty, the junior out of Clearwater, with a 27-yard attempt. Ball is down, and he got it. So let's take a timeout. 8:40 remaining, opening quarter. Miami 3 and the Hokies nothing.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Polaroid and in part by Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move through the world.
Well, you simply could not ask for a more perfect evening. Rain is nowhere in the forecast. It is brisk, but not cold by any shape of the imagination. The wind is negligible. A capacity house and a group of people that are just about as excited as you could get. I mean, this has been a week that has been loaded with hype, and rightfully so.
And Ron, for people that have not been to Blacksburg, Virginia, I guess that's kind of a knockoff Elvis version right there, but this atmosphere is as electric as any in all of college football.
Brian Monroe to kick it off. Clowney and Josh Morgan are the 2 deep men, and this one's going to be way too deep. Josh Morgan said, nope, I'm not going to deal with that one. Well, Bob, we talked about the possibility of these defenses really kind of canceling out each other. Talk about some other numbers that are important in this one.
Well, I look at it, yards and points are so difficult to come by. What are the secret yardage or hidden yardage? First, turnover margin. Virginia Tech, a huge advantage. Penalties per game, Miami twice as heavily penalized. And that last one, non-offensive touchdowns. Last 3 seasons, Virginia Tech gets a lot of credit across the country for non-offensive touchdowns, but they are dead even in that category.
Again, 2 tight ends. Miami showing blitz on the outside. And Marcus Vick stands up, checks that play off, short drop, going to go with a hot route, and a fade is overthrown. David Clowney was the man that he was looking for, but Miami had that one defended to a T as they dropped off the safety to help out. So it was Maxey and Kenny Phillips over the top, and that's exactly what they wanted to have happen as you look at the numbers on Marcus Vick.
Extremely accurate. He will do a lot of checking or changing the play at the line of scrimmage. That time Miami talked him into throwing the ball against one-on-one coverage, but great coverage on the outside.
So far, Marcus has not completed a pass in the ball game. He's 0 for 3. Again from the shotgun. Delayed blitz. 25 out to the 30. And one of the things I know Bob is going to talk about, boy, he carries that ball very, very loosely.
If there is one thing Marcus Vick does that's reckless, it's right here carrying that football away from his body. You know, you always teach ball carriers, receivers, quarterbacks, hold it high and tight. That is not high and tight right there. That's about as loose as it comes. And Miami, a team with great speed on the backside. Watch them stripping that ball out of there, Ron.
Jeremy Gilchrist, number 82, checks into the lineup for the Hokies. Fakes the run, sets deep in the pocket, throws it over the middle, almost, and should have been intercepted by Kelly Jennings. Boy, that's 2 tonight that Marcus Vick has thrown, and he's thrown way, way, way too close to the defender.
And one thing I see early in this game, these 2 corners for Miami are locking down on the outside receivers of Virginia Tech. Right here, just man-to-man coverage, Ron, and I mean, there is no breathing room. Great job by those 2 experienced Miami corners.
Kelly Jennings, who you just looked at, number 22, a 4-year starter, a senior out of Sunrise, Florida. Second down, Virginia Tech. 3-0, Miami leads it. It came after a turnover. Running play, Emo. 5, 10, cut it off at 12 yards. It'll be enough for the first down. And let's check down on the sideline with Holly Rowe. Holly?
Well, guys, all week long, Frank Beamer has been using the word unflappable for his quarterback, Marcus Vick. After that last fumble, he came over to the sidelines, and guys, he wasn't throwing his helmet. He wasn't disappointed with himself. He just stood there waiting to get back on the field. Very little reaction from him. He's just trying to prove himself, and unflappable is what we're seeing right now from Marcus Vick.
Okay, and it has been a situation where now they come up with a big run by Emo. He had a first down just a moment ago, but a couple of passes that, quite frankly, should have been picked off. He's going to run this one. Emo with a block. Has 5, has 10, and count this one off at about 13 yards. Brandon Merriweather saved a much greater distance run.
And a predetermined quarterback run. Right here, we're going to watch Emo. He's going to get an excellent block on the perimeter. And Marcus, a lot like Michael right here. As you see Emo chop the linebacker. Explosive run. They've got him at 4.29 in the 40. 7th fastest ever at Virginia Tech.
Now he says he had rather run. Let's reverse it. Had rather pass than run. But he's got a couple of outstanding runs in this series right here. And now he's going to step back and call out.
And he looks like his brother, doesn't he?
So we'll take a break. Miami 3 and the Hokies nothing. So we're back 3-0. Miami on top. And as you look down on the sideline, number 78 is right here in attendance tonight. Bruce Smith. Boy, Hokie fans adored him and still do. Played here 1981 through 1984.
You talk about a guy that could anticipate the snap count and jump off that ball now.
Mike Emo back in the ball game at tailback, and they'll give it to him. Bounces it outside 45 and tackled at the 41-yard line. Brandon Merriweather really hog-tied him, and that is unofficially 4 tackles for Merriweather already.
And that ankle, whatever that voodoo chant was his teammates put on him before the game for Mike Emo, is working. And watch this lick. Brandon Merriweather, about 190 pounds, Ron. We've seen it over and over on tape. This guy, they call him old school Miami DB. He'll hit you, and he'll talk to you a little bit too now.
About to hit 6.5 minutes left to play, opening quarter. The points, 1 field goal, and that came after a fumble by Marcus Vick. Steps up, going to go long, got a man out there, and overthrown David Clowney. That would have put the Hokies on the board big time. So now both quarterbacks with an overthrow of wide open receivers.
And that time David Clowney locked up again on Marcus Maxey, runs the corner route and did have an opportunity. The ball a little bit overthrown. But, Ron, I think good news for Virginia Tech, because that's the first time all night they've been able to get off that bump and run man-to-man coverage and have some separation.
You see the numbers on Marcus. 0 for the evening. Gets this one in the flat. There's the first completion, and that's the backup tight end, John Kinzer. And that'll be enough for the first down at the 36-yard line. Brandon Merriweather was still another tackle.
I've got to ask you a question. I know you're a traditionalist. What do you think of these Virginia Tech mismatched uniforms with the sleeve?
Well, I understand that a lot of the players like it. I thought it looked really good on FloJo. I'm not wild about these things.
You know, Miami has the same thing. They're going to break them out against Georgia Tech later in the season. So we're going to see that Hurricane version a little later down the road, too.
Well, all you style merchants, mark that one down on your calendar. 9th play of the drive. This is Humes. They're not booing. Cedric Humes fighting his way. Good second effort. It'll be a gain of about 3.5 yards on the play. Holly Rowe will check again with you.
Well, guys, you're talking about these new funky uniforms. Phil Knight from Nike personally selected Virginia Tech and about 4 other schools to have these new uniforms. Frank Beamer said he got some calls from the alumni who weren't that crazy about him. But the most important thing, when he went on the road recruiting last week after that Thursday night game where they broke him out, the recruits love him. He said, hey, if the young kids love him, we're going to keep wearing them.
Yeah, simple as that. You're right, Holly. 5:10 left to play in this opening quarter. It's a second down and long, which seems to have been the situation most of the night for Virginia Tech as Jeff King jumps off sides, and that's going to cost him 5, and it'll make it a second down and 13.
Prior to the snap, number 72, false start of the offense, 5-yard penalty. It's still second down.
So, Jeff, I apologize to you. Jason Murphy was ahead of.
When we talk about Frank Beamer, Holly mentioned going out recruiting. He didn't go far, I promise you that, Ron, because 19 starters on this team from Virginia. I'm just betting he went down to that Tidewater area. Have you ever seen a team with so many just homegrown guys, and not from the state of Florida? You got to take Florida out of the mix.
And the wonderful thing is the pride that they have developed in Virginia high school football. And boy, it's paying off for them. Merriweather shows blitz, comes up from that safety spot, and they're all over Vic. Going to knock him down for a big loss back at the 43. That's Javon Nanton, the senior out of Miami, played at Springs High School.
And Javon Nanton really is a pass rush specialist, was a walk-on at Miami. They tried to get about 20 plays a game out of him. The coaches, Randy Shannon, the coordinator, said he really understands his role on this football team.
You know, thought it was interesting what Randy said that they talked about at halftime last week when they did not have a good first half against North Carolina. He said, stop trying to have kill hits, kill shots, break down, make the tackle. Going to step up into the pocket, and that is a breakdown and make the tackle right there is Nanton again. And they will have another loss against Virginia Tech. And what looked as though when they had first down at the 35-yard line was going to be great has gone awry.
Right here, we're going to look at Dwayne Brown, the right offensive tackle. He was a tight end until 11 days before the North Carolina State game right there. Really had a difficult time right there in pass protection. These ends from Miami coming off the edge.
Nick Schmidt stands back to punt as you look at Devin Hester, who has dropped off to the 10-yard line. Second punt of the night by the Hokies. Here's the boot. Spiral is not going to turn over, but he kicks it away from him, and now it's going to go out of bounds, and that is outstanding as far as Schmidt is concerned. Good yardage on the kick, and then he kicked it out of bounds. The second of 3 huge games in 3 nights on ESPN continues tomorrow night with an important NFC showdown. Philadelphia taking on the Washington Redskins. And the Eagles have suspended Terrell Owens indefinitely for conduct detrimental to the team. This game also available in high definition on ESPN HD. Call your local cable operator. Crowd comes to life. Line of scrimmage is the 18-yard line, the Miami 18. Hurricanes lead at 3-0. Moss, very simple. and it'll be a staple all night long as long, Bob, as they can come up with 5.5 yards per carry.
And we look at Kyle Wright, Ron. Last week, 3 interceptions in the first half against North Carolina. Miami bailed him out with the running game in the second half. He only threw 5 passes the entire second half. He is going to have to make some throws tonight.
Miami 6 rushes for 26 yards. Right, here comes pressure. Avoids it. Flag is down. It's going to be holding, and he just throws this one away. And now another flag comes down way upfield, and that might be unsportsmanlike or personal foul, a hit out of bounds.
We're going to get a late hit on Aaron Rouse late in that play.
But I think Tella is going to be the guilty party as far as the holding on Jonathan Lewis, as Lewis was by him. Jack Christensen with the call.
Holding number 61 of the offense. That takes the ball half the distance to the goal line. After the play, there was a dead ball personal foul, number 37 of the red. That's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
And you look at Aaron Rouse, 6'4", 221 pounds. Last year played linebacker, this year playing safety. You have to call that, Ron. The unfortunate thing, personal foul, automatic first down for Miami.
So the new situation, the new line of scrimmage is to 27. Moss, draw play, right up the middle. Got to be very short yardage. He'll take it to the 30. Ron Franklin, along with Bob Davie and Holly Rowe from Lane Stadium in Blacksburg. Number 5 against number 3. And in the BCS rankings, it's number 3 against number 6. Miami first, Virginia Tech second in total defense, as Moss has limped off the field. Boy, that could be gigantic as far as the course of events in this ball game tonight. Charlie Jones is checked into the lineup, number 34. He's out of Homestead, Florida. He'll get the carry and a couple of yards as he'll take it to the 32. Darryl Tapp there to make the stop on him.
Ron, you mentioned that loss of Tyrone Moss. We'll see how that progresses. That is huge. Keep in mind 195 yards, 4 TDs last week against North Carolina. That was his breakout game. It's on Kyle Wright right now on 3rd down and 5 to make a play.
3rd down. They need to take it to the 37-yard line to keep this drive going. Right. They set up the screen. Great call. Nobody there. 30, 35, 40. And it's going to be Hill all the way out to the 43-yard line. Finally tripped up by Roland Minor, but not before he had gained 11.
Excellent call to take the pressure off your young quarterback. Quatrine Hill, the fullback, the remaining back, single back in passing situations. That was an excellent, well-executed screen right there.
Wright spins, hands it off to Charlie Jones. And Jones is going to take it all the way to midfield. That's a gain of close to 7 yards in the play. Aaron Ross coming up from that roving position to make the tackle.
And it really is fun to watch some I formation football with those backs deep in the backfield running downhill.
And number 34, Charlie Jones, goes to the sideline as you look at Tyrone Moss over there. Could see him limping, favoring that left leg. He must have had an equipment problem because Charlie Jones is right back out on the field. His headgear did get knocked off on that last play. Play clock is down to 5. Fakes it to Jones. Throws it out in the flat at the 45-yard line, and that's Hill. And Quadrain Hill will take it to close to the 40, and that is the end of the opening quarter. So as a change ends in the field, Miami 3 and the Hokies nothing. The Hokies with only 26 first quarter yards. So we are back at Blacksburg, prepared to start this second 15 minutes of play. Number 5 against number 3, and Miami leads it 3-0. Wright throws it complete, and that's Sonoris Moss. And Moss will be stopped quickly. Now for a SportsCenter 30 at 30 update, we head back to the studio and join Reese Davis. Reese?
All right, Ron, Terrell Owens suspended indefinitely by the Eagles for conduct detrimental to the team. The Eagles set out guidelines, according to Sal Paolantonio, for his return after his comments earlier in the week, and he did not meet them. He won't play against the Skins. Started the day with 5 unbeaten teams, and barring the greatest comeback in the history of college football, UCLA will fall from that group. Cedric Shepto of Arizona scoring. It's 45-7 in that game.
Whoa.
I think Kirk Herbstreit picked that upset.
Charlie Jones off the left side takes it inside the 35-yard line. They're going to be short of the first down, and it'll make it third down at about 3.5. James Anderson, the redshirt senior out of Chesapeake, Virginia, comes over to make the tackle.
Some more equipment problems right there for Charlie Jones. And the defense a definite advantage with this crowd noise, Ron. Difficult for the offensive lineman right here to get off on the snap count.
9th play of the drive. It all started back at the 18-yard line. Kyle Wright needs to take it to the 31. Pass complete, and that'll be Greg Olson for the first down at the 27.
Greg Olson, Miami's leading receiver, comes into this game with 24 catches. Just runs a little option route right there, sits down in the zone. This kid had 8 catches against Florida State. His dad is a high school coach in New Jersey, Ron. He told me before the game his dad is coaching tonight and has a game.
Somebody's got a television close by, I can promise you. First down. Play action. Here comes pressure. Wright steps up, gets the ball away, throws it complete, but he came down way out of bounds, and it will be an incomplete pass. Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, right now, Tyrone Moss is headed to the locker room for Miami. Their running back got some bad news. The trainers examined his left knee, and the trainer just shook his head. He did not confirm whether he's torn a ligament. Right now, they're calling it a sprained knee, but the reaction of the trainer did not look positive. Moss limped off. He was having a hard time walking, but he is in the locker room for further evaluation. I'll let you know if he's able to return or not, guys.
Okay, Holly, thanks very much. Great hustle there. 13 minutes, 42 seconds left in the half. And straight ahead with the running play as they move Hill to the tailback spot. He gets the carry, and Aaron Ross with still another tackle for Virginia Tech.
And for Miami, losing Tyrone Moss, what a disappointment for this football team. But how about his family, Ron? His dad works for the city down in Broward County. This is the first football game his dad's been unable to make. They went to a restaurant, rented some space watching this game on television. Can only hope for the best.
You know, and Bob, actually, his dad was having to work last week because of the hurricane, and I think he had to miss that ball game, the record high for him as well.
Exactly.
So anyway, if they're watching, we say hello, and we hope that the report is good we get from the locker room. 12th play of the drive, out in the flat, got that one complete, and it's Darnell Jenkins, the junior out of Miami Central High School, good for 12 yards.
And Darnell Jenkins had 3 catches against North Carolina. With the injury to Sonoris Moss, a lot of respect by Roland Minor, the corner, number 15, playing off.
Lance Leggett, number 9, the man at the top of your screen. As you look at Wright's numbers, 5 of 8. But they keep it on the ground, and Charlie Jones bangs his way close to the 15-yard line. Jonathan Lewis is the man who's down at the bottom of the stack. Bob, talk about strategy here. Last year I talked about 48 rushes for Virginia Tech and how they kept the ball away from Miami. It's almost like a role reversal this year.
I think you're exactly right, and it's whichever team on offense can force the other team's safeties to come down and have to play the run, and then you can take a shot with the pass. So both teams have to establish the running game to get those safeties involved in run defense.
Play action this time. Looking, still looking. Here comes pressure, more of it, and he is going to throw it away. And now here comes a flag in. We may have on tap a late hit of the quarterback. That would have been 3rd down and 10, and let's see.
And Kyle Wright is down and injured right now as we look at Frank Beamer.
Jack Childress, the referee, signaling that that's exactly what the call is. And Kyle, as you can see, is dazed.
Foul. Illegal helmet contact on the defense. Half an inch to the goal. First down.
Obviously the crowd saw it on the Jumbotron. Darryl Tapp, Virginia Tech's most explosive defensive lineman. Wow. I don't think so. If we can take a look at that again, I know he led with the top of the headgear, but the explanation from the referee was illegal contact, and I thought to the helmet of the quarterback. Let's take another look right here. I don't think you can call that. I agree with Frank Beamer on that call. I mean, Kyle Wright's headgear snapped back as a result of the blow to Kyle Wright's chest, not to his helmet.
So that means Kirby Freeman, a very talented redshirt freshman out of Brownwood, Texas, will check into the ball game. Number 7, his dad is a coach. Jones and Hill are the setbacks. It's Zellner in motion, and he'll give it to Jones, spinning his way inside the 5, and he's all the way down to about the 3-yard line. Xavier Adibi is there on the stop, and it's the first time we called his name tonight.
That is a great effort by this tailback, Charlie Jones. That's a tremendous effort right there. And how about Miami? The starting tailback out of the game right now, the starting quarterback out of this game.
So it's going to be 2nd down and goal. This is the 15th play of this drive. Jones again, right side, puts the head down, and he takes it to around the 1-foot line. Tackled by James Anderson.
And right now, if you're Miami, ball security, starting with the quarterback center exchange. And you have to think right here, Miami will go up over the top and follow Eric Winston, this big left offensive tackle, number 74 right here, 310 pounds.
7 minutes on this drive. Movement in the offensive line. They're right in front of the band and a huge part of the student section. And if someone couldn't hear the snap count, don't fault them.
Prior to the snap, full start, offense, number 64, 3rd down.
And this Hokie crowd will be like sharks with blood in the water right now. And if you're Miami, get up there and just count on going on silent snap count, because this crowd's going to come after you right now.
You know something, Bob, if without the penalty, even if they hadn't scored on the last play, I think Coker would have gone for it on 4th down.
I don't know.
You're on the road. Field goals don't win it for you, do they?
It might in this game. You don't need a lot of points the way that Miami defense is playing. But Don't turn the football over, Kirby Freeman, because that 3 points could be valuable.
Third down goal, 5-yard line to the 3, to the 2, forces his way to the 1-foot line, and it's Hill this time on the carry.
You're going to find out right now, Ron, if he would have gone for it or not, because we are right back to that situation. Quadrine Hill on a little counter action. Again, an excellent effort. You see Greg Olson, the tight end, clear through. The knee is obviously down right there. Good call. And Larry Coker
So
needs
let's take a
time.
timeout. 9:52 left until halftime. We'll see you in a moment. So we're back, and they're going for it.
And Ron, Miami in an unbalanced line with Eric Winston at tight end.
Charlie Jones is the tailback. 4th down and goal from the 1-foot line. Jones with a handoff. Touchdown, Miami.
That was impressive right there. That surge by that unbalanced line of Miami.
I'm going to tell you what was impressive. That was a 17-play drive, 82 yards, and we'll total up the minutes in just a moment, but it was almost 8 minutes long.
And a backup quarterback comes in to be a part of it, and the backup tailback the whole drive.
John Petty to attempt the extra point right down the middle, and with 9:49 left to play until halftime, all of a sudden a silence comes over this capacity and partisan house in Blacksburg, Virginia.
And everybody talks about where's the Hurricanes been. We look at this unbalanced line. This is Eric Winston right here at tight end. They have 4 guys, really 5 on one side. Great search, good block by Greg Olson. But Ron, everybody talks about where has Miami been since that Florida State game on national television. Keep in mind this program again, more NFL players, 47 than any school in college football. At least 1 first rounder, 11 straight years. Miami isn't going to just go away now.
8 minutes and 18 seconds on that drive. Also give credit to Hill, number 23. He had an outstanding block as they sent him into the hole, and it helped clear it out. So now Monroe prepares to kick it off. And to recap the scoring, Marcus Vick fumbled the ball deep in Virginia Tech territory. They got the ball. The recovery went to Miami. Field goal was kicked. They led 3-0. But this drive right here, they took over at their own 18-yard line and have driven it for 8 minutes and 18 seconds. So you look into the face of Clowney, one of the deep men who is back, and the other one is Josh Morgan. And right now on the official board, Bob, 20 yards passing or 20 yards running, 6 passing for Virginia Tech, a total of only 26 yards in this ball game. Kick is too far, and they'll scrimmage from the 20-yard line. Reese Davis, let's check back at the studio with you. What do you got for us?
Ron, Taco Bell studio update. UCLA not making a run for the border. They probably want to make a run for the bus. A backward pass against Arizona. Marcus Hollingsworth. Oh, if I recover that, I'll score. And he does. 52-7. Arizona laying it to the Bruins.
That leaves you a little bit speechless right there. And we know UCLA's been playing with fire because they've not played very good defense. But wow, that is a shocker right there. Except Kirk Herbstreit called that one. Now you got to give him credit.
Coach Stoops has been looking for a signature win since becoming the head coach out in the desert country, out at the University of Arizona, and that certainly is a signature win for him, Bob. Penalty against Miami for offside. So they're going to kick again. They'll kick this time from the 30-yard line. 10-0 our score. And for the Hokies, they've got to get some offense going. As I mentioned a moment ago, as we are almost 20 minutes into this football game, they barely have more than a yard a minute. 26 total yards so far.
And we have not seen the best this guy Marcus Vick has to offer.
No question.
Yet in this football game.
Here comes Brian Monroe. And this one is returnable. This is going to come down to Morgan. 15. And he's not going to make the 20-yard line. Great coverage on the part of Miami. Still being hit. And now the crowd wants a flag. And there is one. Randy Phillips was the first man to get there to make the hit. And then as he stepped out of bounds, more folks kept coming after him.
We're going to get a late hit, but one thing you see, Ron, don't run east and west against Miami, whether it's a kicking or a snap from scrimmage, because they will track you
personal
down.
Foul, number 2 of the kicking team. That's a 15-yard penalty for first down.
You see the speed of Miami right here, and Josh Morgan really keeps this thing alive on the sidelines. You're going to see the late hit right there.
I think that was Beeson, the man that they flagged.
I know he had a lot of help on that call right over there on that Virginia Tech sideline. I think it was a good call.
So it's a first down, and the line of scrimmage is the 29. Brandon Orr has come into the ball game at tailback for Virginia Tech. Vick under pressure, going to run it. 30, 35, and he is going to be stopped at the 39. Very close to the first down as Rocky McIntosh broke down and made the tackle.
And again, you see the escapability of Marcus Vick. Again, Marcus, I like to see you tuck that football away, as you see right there. He holds that thing out. But you see he has all the tools, and I love his release of the football, Ron. He is about as pretty as there is releasing that football. No wasted motion at all.
Well, and walking back to the locker room with him yesterday and visiting for a time, young man has a lot of poise for a young ball player too. Running play straight ahead. This is going to move the sticks for them, and you hear the cheer go up from the crowd because they keep looking at the board knowing, hey, offensively we've not done a lot tonight.
And you go back to Marcus Vick. You mentioned how poised he is. He really has done a remarkable job, Ron. You can just imagine with a last name like Vick, all the opportunities afforded to you, but also kind of a burden with the responsibility, the expectations under the microscope. This kid has done a phenomenal job handling all that.
Taraz McCray, number 54, checks into the defensive line for Miami. He's a young one out of Ely High School, also in Pompano, which is where Moss is from. Lobs this pass, got a man there. He caught it, but he caught it out of bounds. David Clowney took one step back, and you could see how upset he is with himself because he was very close to having an outstanding reception.
And you're going to see the true freshman Phillips come off the hash right here, number 1, and forces Clowney out of bounds. Remember, in the NFL, you cannot be forced out. In college football, all that matters is where your feet come down, whether you're forced out or not. But pretty good, accurate throw right there by Marcus Vick.
8:21 to play until halftime. Miami 10, Virginia Tech nothing. Short drop this time, right over the middle. Wanted Jeff King, the tight end, and he threw it behind him. And a few groans from the crowd there as Brandon Merriweather did have the cover, but Jeff with a lot of size advantage on Merriweather at 6'5", 256.
And you look at this guy. This is not just another guy. You talk about pressure and responsibility. Every day he walks into that football office, you know, that's called Michael Vick Hall over there. You talk about a lot of pressure on a young guy. And right now, Ron, he is not throwing the football with as much confidence early as we've seen him.
Well, last week in the first half against Boston College, last Thursday night, he was simply just on fire. Sets deep in the pocket this time. Going to try to run out of it. Got by McCray, and he will step out of bounds. I think they say it around the 47-yard line.
And you talk to different Virginia Tech coaches. In some ways, they'd like to see Marcus take off and run more. That's something Michael did a lot of, but you see the acceleration right there, but he did step out of bounds. I think if there's a major difference, Marcus will stay in that pocket more, let plays develop more than Michael did when he was here at Virginia Tech.
So it's Nick Schmidt. Time to kick it away to Devin Hester. Third time that they've had to kick tonight. And I'm sure that Frank Beamer kind of holds his breath every time that they do. Having a dangerous person like Hester back in that return position. Here's the boot. not real long. Spiral's not going to turn over, but he has to let it drop. And it's going to be touchdown. That touch, did it touch a Miami player? Boy, the tight end Ortega was standing right there by the football. That's what the crowd was wanting, but they're saying first down Hurricanes. I'll tell you what, Buck is going to be talked with when he gets to the bench. We'll take a timeout.
And the coach's worst nightmare. Everybody's over there screaming, get away from it, get away from it. Did not touch him. Buck Ortega's the happiest guy on that field.
ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Aflac. Ask about it at work. And the Girl in the Moon. Savor the highlight.
Well, the mission of the Virginia Tech Solar Decathlon team is to inform and educate the public about issues of energy, particularly solar, but enhancing student education through a design-build process of innovative research and testing through application. Kirby Freeman continues to operate at quarterback. Rolls it, throws it high, has it complete, and that's Moss. Sonoris Moss on the completion, and let's go down to the sideline and Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, Tyrone Moss is complete. He is done for this game. He's over on the sideline in his street clothes on crutches. Now, they're calling it a sprained knee, but, guys, the body language and what they're saying, it may be more serious than that. For Kyle Wright, he is still being held out this series. The trainers are still attending to him. They say he's got some cobwebs and dizziness. They were looking at his left jaw. It's still causing him some pain, so Kyle Wright out until the cobwebs clear.
So it's Kirby Freeman, the redshirt freshman out of Brownwood, Texas. Third down, or let's make it second down and 6. They're going to take it to the 26-yard line, and very close to that on the carry out to the 36 is James Anderson on Charlie Jones.
You know, the definition of Beamer ball, Ron, is the ability to score in all three phases of your football team. Offense, obviously, but defense and special teams. You get the feel right now that they're going to need some Beamer ball, force some turnovers on defense and in the kicking game, as Miami is going to get a flag here.
I think they break the huddle with 12.
Prior to the snap, substitution violation, breaking the huddle with more than 11 players, 5 yards, still first down.
Back to my point, Ron, of scoring on defense. Virginia Tech first has to stop the run, then force the freshman Kirby Freeman to throw the football. But you got to stop the run first.
Well, as we mentioned, they had not given up but 7 points in their first 8 ball games. And tonight they gave up 3. Now have given up 10 as we play in the second quarter with 6:40 remaining until halftime. Freeman hands the ball off to Jones, hit behind the line of scrimmage. Jonathan Lewis with good penetration, and that fouled up everything.
And the whole dynamics changed with the penalty on first down, the negative yardage on second down, and Beamer ball starting to kick in a little bit now because obvious pass situation. But you know Larry Coker is going to be smart in these situations with that young quarterback.
Well, his last drive, they kept the ball for 8 minutes and 18 seconds. It's Ryan Moore in motion, but it's a draw play. Big opening, has 5, has 10, and counted off at about 11 yards out close to the 40-yard line as Charlie Jones on the carry and DJ Parker, a reserve free safety, comes up to make the hit. You look at Kyle Wright on the far sideline talking with his injured running back Tyrone Moss.
And players respect how much other players have invested, and injuries are devastating. You see a smile come to Tyrone Moss's face right there, but it's year-round to get the opportunity to play in these games, Ron. And boy, you hate to see guys lose games.
And particularly coming off a career high. Pass over the middle, knocked down, almost intercepted by Aaron Ross. Ross was right there.
And we almost saw the first phase of Beamer ball right there as Aaron Rouse, the big safety, playing kind of a robber right there. Kirby Freeman tries to force it in. And now, Ron, here comes the second phase. This punt block unit of Virginia Tech. Keep your eye on Darryl Tapp and Xavier Adibi right up the middle right here.
Morgan is the deep man. They shipped out of the formation again. They had Hester back deep to take the snap. Monroe moves up, and he will kick the ball away. There's the boot. High hanging spiral. Morgan retreats to the 11-yard line, fumbles, and they're still fighting for it inside the 10-yard line. And it is Virginia Tech football. Recovering the ball was Jimmy Williams. Wow. So we'll take a timeout. 5:01 left until halftime. Miami still in the shutout, 10-0. We'll be right back. So welcome back, 10-0. Miami on top. Let's take one more look at the fumble.
And you always hear, Ron, that left-footed punters are more difficult because their ball spins a different way. There you see clearly a fumble. This is a great effort right here by Rashawn Jones. And how about Jimmy Williams?
Just took it away, didn't he?
Just wrestled it away from Rashawn Jones. That one doesn't show in the stat book. That was a great play by Jimmy Williams.
Now during the play, though, Bob, we're going to show after this first play right here. Devin Hester limped off the field, and he may have pulled a hamstring muscle. He moved back into the ball game at tailback. Vick looking, got a man, and he throws it incomplete. Here comes two flags, and that'll be pass interference on Kelly Jennings. Justin Harper, the intended receiver. Jack Childress with the interference call, and let's go back and take a look at the injury.
Pass interference, number 22 of the defense. Penalty places the ball at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Ron, when a guy pulls a hamstring, I'm going to show you up here at the top, Devin Hester. Everybody in the stadium knows it. And right here, watch Devin Hester grab the back of that leg. When you pull it right there at a full throttle, it takes time to get back.
You just go down. Running play hit behind the line of scrimmage. Woody Williams is the man who gets there to make the hit. Let's go down to the sidelines in Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, Devin Hester has been on the sideline. Every time he's not been on the field, he's been sitting over there with a heating pad on the back of that left leg. This is a problem that's been bothering him throughout the game, and then as he accelerated on that last punt, you could see him pull up. So this has been an ongoing problem throughout the game.
So second down, and they need to take it out to the 33.5-yard line. Miami showing blitz, but they stay at home. Vick, great protection, going to go on top. Nobody there except Miami, and it's intercepted by Kelly Jennings. Kelly Jennings will pick it off at the 34-yard line, and Miami has 4 minutes and 4 seconds to work with, already on top, 10-0. And Kyle Wright, as you can see, is up on the far sideline, and we're wondering if he might come in.
And this tight man-to-man coverage of Miami right here has really frustrated the quarterback. I mean, that's just a desperation throw to David Clowney. Interception by Kelly Jennings. A 4-year starter at corner for Miami. Keep in mind, only that young guy's 9th career start, Ron.
So Kirby Freeman appears to be back into the ball game. We saw Kyle Wright grabbing the football and starting to warm up on the far sideline.
The previous play is under review.
We'll take a look at what the replay booth is going to look at. I think he had possession of that football.
I do too. Yeah, I thought it was called properly on the field. It was called an interception. Everything is under review, literally. Yeah, he tucks the ball in right there simply because he only had one arm on it trying to brace himself with the fall.
Ron, I really do think these Miami corners, particularly Kelly Jennings, are underrated a little bit. I mean, this guy started 36 games at Miami. He and Marcus Maxey, two dominant corners, and they force Marcus Vick to try to force that football in there. And you know what? Let's go back. This is the #1 defense in the country. We're talking about Miami only giving up 221 yards a game. They held Florida State to 170 yards total offense in their only loss.
Replay, the play calls, the play stands is called on the field. First down.
Okay, good job there by Jack Childress. And as we saw in the replay, that they had made the proper call, but it was reviewed. And it's first down Miami. They have the ball at their own 34-yard line. Merriweather now being checked over on the far sideline. And Thomas, Deron Thomas, is coming at tailback, number 21, a redshirt freshman out of right there in Coral Gables, Florida. Thomas gets the call. Right up the middle. It's going to have 3, maybe 4 yards. Darryl Tapp is the man who is on top of him. And also Jonathan Lewis. And Jonathan has had an outstanding game tonight.
And one thing you're going to see, Ron, this is the safety right here for Virginia Tech. They have forced Virginia Tech into an 8-man front. One safety look on running downs. Watch for Miami taking a shot down the field to try to take advantage of that one-on-one coverage with Virginia Tech's corners.
Here's a look at Darryl Tapp, number 55, as you watch Kirby Freeman, possibly with an audible here on a 2nd down and 6. Wants to throw it, gets it away. It is caught at the 40-yard line. Short gain by Sonoris Moss.
You talk about a baby brother playing in big footsteps. How about Sonoris Moss, brother of Santana Moss at the Redskins? Had a shoulder last week against North Carolina. He's back and healthy.
Look at that grin. He caught that ball. It doesn't matter if it was for short yardage. He likes to play. Not a real big young fella at 5'8", 185. Here we go. 3rd down. They need to take it to the 44-yard line. Hill hit by Jonathan Lewis, going to be well short of the 1st down.
And you see Larry Coker's defense allowed Larry Coker to make that conservative call on 3rd down, Ron. Punt the football, make Virginia Tech and Marcus Vick execute.
Well, when you got that defense, you got a 10-point lead, even though you're on the road. Your point is very well taken, Bob, in the fact that, hey, punt the ball away and let's play some more defense.
Again, a left-footed punter. The rotation on the ball opposite.
Here's the boot. Best kick of the night by him. High driving spiral all the way back to the 5-yard line as Morgan gets by one tackler. At the 10, he's going to be mobbed. And here comes a flag in late.
Ron, you can forget about going east and west in this football game. There's too much speed. You better go north and south as a punt returner.
60 yards on the punt and only 3 on the return. But let's see what the officials have here. Block in the back is the call by the officials. Let's check back to the studio. Reese Davis, what do you got for us, young man?
All right, Ron, coming up on the Pontiac Performance Halftime Report, the latest on Terrell Owens. Michael Irvin will join me with a little perspective on what T.O. is going through since he's been suspended by the Eagles. We'll also have the game day guys there in Blacksburg with you, a little bit more subdued now in Blacksburg than it was. And also, if you're going to drop from the ranks of the unbeaten, you might as well go down in flames. And that's what UCLA is doing against Arizona. We'll have it all for you coming up at halftime. We'll see you in just a little bit, Ron.
Okay, Reese. We've got 1:48 minutes showing on the clock. Miami leads it by 10. And what the Hokies have got to be careful of here, following that block in the back penalty, Bob, they're only 4.5 yards out from their own end zone.
You are right, with only 39 yards total offense in this football game. playing it cautious right now if you're Frank Beamer is not a bad idea.
Cedric Humes, number 32, in the ball game at tailback. But they're going to try to throw it. And overthrown. Jeff King, the intended receiver. Virginia Tech wanted a penalty. I'm not sure the ball was catchable anyway. Willie Williams is the man in coverage.
And Virginia Tech is struggling right now because Miami is locking down in man-to-man coverage. There you see Willie Williams, the highly recruited linebacker, on Jeff King. But right now, Miami's ability to play man-to-man coverage is the reason Marcus Vick, Ron, is 1 for 10 in this football game.
That's incredible. Virginia Tech only has 39 first-half yards. 33 rushing and 6 passing. Miami came with the blitz. Play is broken open by Humes just a little bit. Comes out to the 9. Willie Williams again on the stop, number 17. Miami, Carroll City. How many times over the years have we said that? Carroll City has been a real spot to sign players for this.
And you almost wonder right here, Ron, should Miami call timeout? Miami with 2 timeouts. You have to think Frank Beamer's going to be conservative. I know right now Larry Coker's thinking, should I burn one of those timeouts right now?
Depends on if Kyle Wright is ready to go or not. I would imagine, wouldn't you? I mean, I'm certainly not. I'm not putting down the redshirt freshman Kirby Freeman.
Well, you know they'd have great field position, so I think you'd have a little more confidence in the young quarterback.
Flag comes down. This play is going to come back as Vick with almost his biggest gainer of the night. But I believe with the umpire throwing that ball, or the flag where he did, that gain of 14 is going to come back with a holding penalty. Marcus Maxey finally made the stop. And there's your call right there.
I think we're going to get it on Jason Murphy, the right guard, Ron, number 72.
Holding, number 72 of the offense. Half the distance to the goal, previous spot. Repeat, 3rd down.
So the penalty moves it back to the 5-yard line, and you look at the penalty: 7 against Miami, 6 against Virginia Tech.
Miami now will use that timeout, Ron, and stop that clock.
42 seconds left, and we'll take a timeout with them. 10-0 Miami. We'll be back with the final seconds in this first half. Good view from Skycam looking down into the Virginia Tech huddle as you see the head coach Frank Beamer standing there talking with his young quarterback Marcus Vick.
And Ron, you remember yesterday Kevin Rogers, a great quarterback coach, Coach Donovan McNabb at Syracuse, also coach at Notre Dame, said the biggest attribute he likes about Marcus Vick, he does not get rattled. He's a cool customer, seen a lot of things. So if there is a positive right now, he's not a guy that easily gets rattled back there.
Well, they got a situation right here where it's 3rd down and 10 again, and 42 seconds left. Miami has 1 timeout. Hokies have 1 timeout. Maybe on a broken play. Didn't even fake it to Humes. Going to run it and takes it out to around the 13-yard line. 2 shy of the 1st down. Rocky McIntosh made the stop.
Miami run uses their last timeout. Keep in mind, Devin Hester, the punt returner, injured with a hamstring. You have to think, obviously, with that and only 32 seconds left, Miami will come after Virginia Tech's punter.
Well, tonight's BCS standings brought to you by Allstate. As we take a look at those, we know that the number 6 team, you can erase, or the number 5 team, I should say, UCLA, you can erase them. They will go to 8-1 with that loss to Arizona. You know, Bob, when you get down to it, as far as looking at these top numbers up here, Virginia Tech trying desperately to catch Texas, who had a huge win over Baylor today on the road. SC at 8-0, playing against Stanford. This really turns into a beauty contest, doesn't it?
It really is, and you're talking about Virginia Tech. You know, 2 of the 3 components in that BCS poll is the human vote, whether it's the Harris poll or the coaches poll, and it really does come down to that. And right now, obviously, Virginia Tech's struggling right now in the first half, but human voters respect the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah.
So You don't have to win this one pretty, Ron. Just win when you play Miami.
You know, they've got a second half to play, which last week was the half as far as Miami is concerned. But quite frankly, what Bob's saying, they need several more poll people to vote them second instead of third.
Keep in mind, Ron, last year Miami blocked a punt against Virginia Tech, bringing the corner, and also Miami blocked a punt last week against North Carolina.
Darnell Jenkins is the deep man since Hester is unable to go and is on the bench across the way. Here's the boot. Not going to turn over, but it's pretty long. Down to the 45. At the 50-yard line. Tries to get up the sideline as a flag comes down at the 43. So it's 41 on the boot and 12 on the return.
We have to be nearing that point where there's more penalty yardage in this game than there is offensive yardage in this game, Ron.
Well, can you check in the huddle there? I think I see number 3. Yeah, Kyle Wright. Looks like they're going to put him back in the ball game here with 19 seconds showing on the clock.
And Ron, I think even if Kyle Wright is not 100% with his ability and arm strength to launch that football down the field right now, that's probably why he's back in the game. And how about Miami with these injuries to difference-making players, still up 10-0 right here?
Well, you saw Hester on the bench a moment ago. Holly gave us a report on Tyrone Moss. You see he is on crutches. We're not going to see him again this evening. And, of course, Kyle Wright went out for 2 different series because of cobwebs from a lift he took. Flag is down, and they're whistling to play dead as Greg Olson caught the ball.
False start, I believe, on Eric Winston. Left offensive tackle. Crowd noise and speed cause havoc on offensive linemen now.
Good look at Big Eric. Of course, was a tight end. One of the captains of the team and also one of the real leaders on this team.
How about from Midland Lee High School? This guy won a bunch of football games in high school, Ron.
In fact, he won a state championship along with a guy by the name of Cedric Benson, who's now playing for the Chicago Bears. Draw play Hill, and he's going to be stopped at around the 50-yard line. Clock is at 12, down to 11. Vince Hall, we haven't called his name too many times tonight. I think he's only got a couple of stops. Clock is down to 4, down to 3, and we are at halftime. Let's go down to the sideline. Holly Rowe.
Coach, we had the early fumble from Marcus Vick, muff on the punt. How much are nerves affecting your team in the first half?
Oh, I don't, you know, Eddie Royal's out. He's our normal punt return guy. He went out early, so that hurts us both as a receiver and a punt returner. But Josh is okay back there. We just got to get him settled down. But we got to do offensively, find a little answer or find an answer for the pressure they're bringing on our quarterback.
How can you take advantage of some of their injuries to key personnel, Hester and Moss?
Well, I think for us offensively, we got to figure out how to get the ball on down the field, be able to protect and get the ball on down the field a little bit.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Okay, Holly, thanks so much. Our score at halftime, Miami 10 and Virginia Tech nothing. Now let's join Chris Fowler for the Pontiac Performance halftime report. Chris? 10-0 our score at halftime. And Bob Davie, when you look at that first half, probably smothering is the very best way that you could describe exactly what happened and how Miami played, and that's what they did to Virginia Tech. What did Frank Beamer say at halftime? I mean, put yourself in that place.
I'll tell you what, Frank Beamer knew coming in, those offensive coaches, Virginia Tech knew coming in, it was not going to be easy. There are still some plays to be made down the field for Virginia Tech. I think the key thing, run the ball a little bit, but take some shots down the field on running downs because you can protect. There's some plays. Miami's playing a lot of bump and run man-to-man on the outside. Now, Miami, you have to be impressed with the first half. 3 big injuries to key players. Their defense, outstanding. Play a lot of man-to-man coverage. And I'm impressed. And what really impressed me, Miami ran the ball, didn't gouge Virginia Tech, but ran it enough with 80 yards rushing, a lot of draws, letting Virginia Tech run up the field. Impressive performance by Miami, but a lot of football left.
And I know that that Bud Foster does not want to afford an opportunity for the big play, but I thought they were kind of conservative on defense in the first half and really didn't come after Miami a lot.
And I think Miami, because, Ron, they ran the football fairly successful, never really got in long passing situations, and when they did, they ran the ball there at the end of the first half. No real opportunity for Virginia Tech to force plays.
So Miami gets it to open the second half, and this kick is going to go out of the back of the end zone. And let's take a look at game track. Vic, 1 of 10, 6 yards, a fumble, and an interception. Miami defense allowed 53 total yards in that first half. You see the Tyrone Moss injury taking him to the locker room, and he's on crutches and will not play in the second half of this ball game. The numbers on Kyle Wright, as you can see, he's obviously starting in the second half, 5 of 8. Straight ahead with a running play and a big opening for Jones, and he is off. Jones is going to take that ball all the way out near midfield at the 49-yard line. It's a gain of 29 yards.
And I'll tell you what, they're all highly recruited at Miami. But right here, you're going to see a little isolation play, and he hits a crease. Rouse, the safety, misses him. And really impressive by Charlie Jones, a young guy, South Dade High School down in Homestead, Florida. Hit that crease, Ron.
11 carries, 62 yards. Right, he's got a man open, throws for the tight end, and he overthrew him, and defensive holding is not going to be called. But I'll tell you, when you see the replay, look at the reaction from Greg Olson. There sure should have been.
No question that Justin Hamilton, the converted wide receiver, running back, now safety. You're going to watch Greg Olson right here, a little out and up the field, and he grabbed that jersey right there, Ron. That should have been called.
Well, it slowed him down enough that he was not under it for a touchdown pass. Let's put it that way. 2nd down and 10. He's looking to go long again, throws underneath, and that is going to be complete. Stepping out of bounds, Darnell Jenkins. James Anderson on the play, but that's a gain of 12.
And Ron, they come back to the very same play. We watch right here. We're going to see the tight end Olson. He's going to come down the field, a little hitching and up, but they went to the out at the top of the field, but they come back to the very same play call on 2 plays. Watch right there, the little hitch. There's Olson up the field, but they went to the out to Darnell Jenkins.
1st and 10 Miami. They own it just inside the 40-yard line. Wright hands it off to Jones. He gets manhandled at the line of scrimmage. There will be no gain in the play, and we'll check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, Miami coach Larry Coker told me at halftime that Devin Hester is not likely to return. That is a big weapon that they lose. But he says he really likes his backup running back, Charlie Jones. They have complete confidence in him, and he gives them a little bit more breakaway speed than Tyrone Moss. Now, for Virginia Tech, their key return man and receiver, Eddie Royal, is bothered by a hamstring pull. He has been out here warming up, bouncing up and down. He is going to try to go.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye. Number 4 for Miami is not going to play. Number 4 for Virginia Tech is trying to play. Greg Olson on the reception of this pass. He stepped out of bounds at around the 23-yard line. That is a 16-yard gain. And I mean, the Miami Hurricanes have come out firing on all cylinders in the second half.
Excellent play action right here. We're going to see Greg Olson delay a little bit and then go to the flat again on a running down. They fake the ISO weak. Little play action. Right now, Miami really on rhythm offensively, Ron.
There's no question about that. Hill at fullback. Charlie Jones, the sophomore out of Homestead, Florida, played at South Dade. 5'10", 203 pounds, has stepped in to replace the injured Tyrone Moss and has been outstanding. They give it to him, try to keep it on the ground on first down. It's a gain of maybe 1, and that's it.
Ron, you come into this football game, Miami offense struggling by Miami standards. And the reason they'd given up 22 sacks, only 25 all last year, had 9 sacks given up against Florida State, but their ability to run the football enough to keep this Virginia Tech defense off balance has been the key to their success so far.
Second down, and it's a long 9. Pressure from behind. Wright just throws it away. Darryl Tapp with heavy pressure on him from behind. Wright felt the pressure and very wisely just threw it away. Going to be third down at about 9.5.
And Miami has shied away on these down and distances, obviously past down and distances, Ron, from really throwing the ball and making the quarterback make a play. Interesting to see right here what Larry Coker does, because a field goal would be critical in this football game.
Lance Leggett is the man split out to the right, top of your screen. Kyle Wright stepping up, going to go to Leggett. He's got it. First and goal, Miami. Down at the 7-yard line. Jimmy Williams trying to cover, but it's good for 14 yards.
And let's talk about the pass protection, because if you're going to throw this deep comeback route, Ron, it takes time. A little push right there on Jimmy Williams, but excellent protection and a great throw by Kirby Freeman. Excuse me, Kyle Wright.
Greg Olson, Buck Ortega, the 2 tight ends. They give it to Jones, left side. Going to fight his way down to the 5. Justin Hamilton, 27, there to make the tackle. And now it's going to be second down and goal. And Virginia Tech's got to come up with a stop right here and force a field goal. Touchdown would be really devastating.
And you look at Charlie Jones right there. You know, at places like Miami, there's always talent. And how many times you see a young guy get his opportunity because of maybe an injury and take advantage of it? I'm impressed right here with Charlie Jones and Miami's ability to run the ball.
He's got to get a headgear that works, though, because now you bring in a redshirt freshman, Thomas, who has not been playing. Look at the critical spot on the field that you are. It sounds like a small thing, but it may not be, Bob. Play action. Pressure on the quarterback. Wright going to try to run, and he'll go down. They will drop him for a loss at around the 8. James Anderson made the tackle, and it was Vince Hall who was coming with the pressure.
He's keeping that equipment guy busy over there on that sideline. That chin strap looks like it keeps coming off. That little buckle right there that keeps the chin strap on.
Okay, they got it working, but they're not going to have time to get him back into the ball game. It's third down and goal. This is the 11th play of the drive for Miami. Right for the end zone, just throws it away.
And I think you do see the development of a young quarterback right there, Kyle Wright. Only his 8th start, knowing the situation and how good his defensive football team is. Throw it away, play for the field goal.
Tonight's kick chart brought to you by Allstate. This is going to be an attempt of 25 yards. You see the numbers on Petty. From this distance, he is perfect. 4 of 4. And he nailed it. 24 yards officially on the kick. We'll take a timeout. New score, Miami 13 and the Hokies nothing.
Stand up. Stand up. When I move, you move. Just like that. When I move, you move. Just like that. When I move, you move. Just like that.
Well, all we can say is moving as I'm moving, and the eye who's doing the moving is the eye of the hurricane. It's Miami. And what's got to happen for Virginia Tech? They're about to get the ball for the first time in the second half, and they got to start moving. Only 53 total yards in the ball game so far. This is Brian Monroe to kick it off. Six yards deep, and he will not return it. Reese Davis, let's check back with you.
All right, Ron, in the swamp, a game over on ESPN2. Florida has his hands full with the Commodores of Vanderbilt. Jay Cutler finding Eric Davis. And in the fourth quarter in that game, 28-21, Commodores hanging around.
Okay, Reese, you know, a lot of people forget in the preseason poll by the coaches that it was not Chris Leak of Florida who was the #1 pick. It was Cutler from Vanderbilt who was the choice of the coaches to be the first-team quarterback.
He is an outstanding quarterback. And how about Florida going to South Carolina next week and face Steve Spurrier?
Vick got a man open, throws it complete, and that is Morgan. Josh Morgan, the sophomore out of Washington, Woodson High School, good for 18 yards, and that is the longest Virginia Tech play tonight.
Again, you see the ability right here of Marcus Vick, that quick snap release, and Josh Morgan on the crossing route. Tough for those corners, Ron, if they're playing bump and run man, to chase that guy all the way across the field like that. Excellent start right here for Virginia Tech.
So the second completion of the night for Vick. They'll keep it on the ground. This is Humes, and Cedric is going to be stopped after a gain of about 3 yards. Ron Franklin along with Bob Davie and Holly Rowe coming to you from a jam-packed Blacksburg, Virginia Lane Stadium. #5 against #3. And so far tonight, it's almost as if you would say, boy, those ratings have been reversed. It's been the Hurricanes who have been the ones who have done the damage at Virginia Tech. Maybe it's a late wake-up call. We'll see. We've got a lot of football to play. Vick with an audible, hands it off to Humes. Humes runs into his own blocker, drives him forward, and they've got it out to the 45-yard line. Orion Harris defensively, about the first tackle that he has made this evening. And I'll tell you, it's big for Virginia Tech. They need 3 more yards right here to not have to punt and to hold on to the football.
You talk about how dominant this Miami defense has been. Think about Virginia Tech getting better every week, Ron. The last 2 weeks, 492 yards on Boston College, 497 the week before. This was a hot offensive football team, Virginia Tech, coming in here tonight.
Good look at Mike Emu on the sideline, being replaced by Humes right now. That pass caught. Nice job, Justin Harper. 1st and 10 for Virginia Tech again. Merriweather on the stop.
See Virginia Tech out of the bunch formation right here. Little combination route. Justin Harper sits down right there in the zone. You know, a lot of similarities to this Tech offense, Ron, and the Indianapolis Colts. If there's one team in the NFL that Virginia Tech studies, it is the Indianapolis Colts.
Look at those numbers right there. This drive, 35 yards. They only had 53 in the entire first half. Miami showing blitz, and they come close to the line of scrimmage. Brandon Merriweather is right there to make the tackle. Is Randy Shannon, are they doing more with their defensive backs and linebackers than usual? They normally do it with the front 4. I see a lot more people than that at the line of scrimmage.
Well, it really is a cat and mouse game. That time, Randy Shannon brought Brandon Merriweather, the safety, down as the extra guy. That leaves one-on-one coverage on the outside. But it's a chess game back and forth. But this guy right here, Ron, that is a tough, tough football player.
Old school. Justin Harper splits wide to the left. He's the man at the top of your screen. And it's a little counter play. Humes.
Cedric Humes on the carry. Tackle made by 98.
Baraka Atkins got a handout and tripped him up. Looked as though he was going to have big yardage.
And one philosophy when you play a fast defense, Ron, get them all running one way and come back with misdirection right there. And how about Cedric Humes playing with a broken forearm with about 10 screws in it? but get the defense running, come back the other way on a misdirection.
Third down, and the line to make is the 35-yard line of Miami. Hurricanes lead it 13-0. Fumbles the snap. They battle for it. Still is loose. And the officials say Miami football. Orion Harris with the recovery. You see the celebration on his part. So now 2 fumbles, 2 turnovers, and 1 interception by Vic.
And that one hurts because it obviously is self-inflicted. And keep in mind, that was a big advantage, we thought, for Virginia Tech. Ron, they came in 4th in the country. Miami 65th in the country in turnover margin, but the Hokies turned the football over.
Time for Bud Foster's defense to step up and silence this attack of the Hurricanes. They run it back into the short side of the field. Not much doing on that play. Got to be a gain of about a half yard. A DB comes over to make the tackle on Charlie Jones.
Ron, you talk about traditions in college football. Everywhere you go, someplace the great traditions, the stadium, the pageantry around the game. When you talk about Miami, to me, the great tradition, it's all about great players that go on to the NFL.
Larry Coker pacing the sideline. Just under 7 minutes to play third quarter. His ball club pitching a shutout right now, 13-0. Virginia Tech showed blitz. They stayed at home. Pass is caught at the 40-yard line and down to the 35. Ryan Moore.
It started with that young running back, Ron, Charlie Jones. Watch number 34 right here. Step up. Give him a window to throw. See that little window right there? Allowed him to throw the curl route in there. To big 85, Ryan Moore. But just that little window created by the pass protection of Charlie Jones.
Minor and a DB combining on the stop as you look back once again at Ryan Moore. Charlie Jones, right side, breaks a big hold. Takes it down to the 30-yard line. That's going to be a gain of 6, maybe a little bit more. Rouse comes over to make the tackle.
And how about the execution right now of this Miami offense?
Tyrone Moss on the sideline. If you joined us late, 195 yards last week in a win over North Carolina. Injured the knee in the second quarter. We have not seen him since. And Charlie Jones, the sophomore out of Homestead, Florida, has come in his stead and has done an outstanding job in a reserve role. Jones again. Cuts it back into the middle, has the first down, and is going to finally be stopped at the 23. And they had him cornered, and he took a jab step back into the middle and got the first down.
And I'll tell you what, isn't it fun to see guys get their opportunities? And watch this cutback run right there. That's the old-eyed tailback, Ron, able to make a cut and cut back. But Charlie Jones came into this game with only 34 carries for 132 yards, but he gets his opportunity tonight.
He's got 79 yards and 17 carries, 1 touchdown, an average of almost 5 yards per try. They'll fake it to him this time. Throws out in the flat. That's Hill. 20 at the 15. Still fighting his way down to the 13-yard line. And because of the second effort, tackled by a DB, but still may have the first down. Very close.
Justin Hamilton.
Looks like old Miami football. Run the ball, now play action, sneak the fullback out in the flat. Missed tackle right there. You see, obviously, Darryl Tapp.
So the clock is stopped right now as they will bring in the change to measure this. The Miami yardage. You talk about having a balanced attack. 124 rushing, 122 passing for a total of 236. And boy, they have just missed it. What is that? 1 length of the chain. That's all they are short of picking up the first down. 236 total yards for the Hurricanes, 90. That's the total for the Hokies of Virginia Tech. And that man has to be terribly disappointed in the offensive output so far.
And what really makes it impressive, Miami one win run in their last 5 trips to Blacksburg. Virginia Tech's won 7 of the last 10 games against this Miami team.
Yeah, they're batting 700 in the last 10, but tonight it has been all Miami as they've got the shutout going at 13-0. Brown right up the middle. He's going to have the first down. Rouse is there on top of him. You see Frank just shake his head like all of a sudden, well, this is something that's just out of our power.
And you have to love the Miami offensive line. I mean, their 2 tackles, Eric Winston and Rashad Butler, we knew were great players, but the play of the inside guys, McMeans, Woschlager, and Tella, they have run the football efficiently here tonight.
You could see on the sideline Tyrone Moss and number 4, Devin Hester, 2 huge weapons, both out with injuries. Not going to play anymore tonight. Left side, Charlie Jones fights his way for maybe a couple, and it'll be 2nd down and goal from around the 8. Xavier Deeby there to make the tackle.
And keep your eye on Eric Winston right here. I mean, he's an old tight end. Watch him come in motion right here, an unbalanced formation. That's 310 pounds there lined up really at fullback. Good job pinning the defensive end, Darryl Tapp, right there.
Second down, they've spotted the ball just inside the 9-yard line. Fakes it to Jones. They roll the pocket, throws it to the end zone, and throws this one away, obviously, as there was very tight coverage on Sonoris Moss by Jimmy Williams.
Again, Ron, I think an efficient night. Not spectacular by any stretch of the imagination for Kyle Wright, but right there just throwing that football away, understanding where you are in this football game.
3rd down, 3rd and goal. Wright's numbers 10 of 17, 115 yards. Hill in the backfield with him. Throws it. Touchdown. Darnell Jenkins in the corner of the end zone with the defender, his hand right in between his arms, and he catches it for the touch.
Impressive drive, obviously. And the crowd just saw something on that replay on the Jumbotron. Obviously, it is reviewable, and it will be reviewed right now.
The previous play is under review.
Pretty smart fans here in Blacksburg, Ron. That's a catch.
That's a catch. These officials, you know, they reviewed one in the first half, and it was called as it stood on the field, and now this one. And I would be shocked if they
cannot
dispute this one,
because indisputable evidence to overturn that. His left hand, Darnell Jenkins, is underneath that football.
On the point of the football. That's where he's got it. See?
That's a great camera angle right there. That's a touchdown.
Justin Hamilton, about as close as you can get without having interference. He did a good job defensively. But to tell you, Kyle Wright just got it to squeeze in there.
And Miami impressive in the first half. But how about this second half? Because now they have that offense going to play along with that dominant defense.
After further review, the play stands as called on the field. Touchdown.
Well, hard to figure what the fans are booing about here. I mean, obviously they are frustrated. That makes it 19-0. And the Miami scoring drive, 3 minutes 42 seconds on 9 plays. It covered 57 yards. And now Petty tries to make it a 20-0 ball game, and they do. Petty is good on the extra point. Let's take a timeout. 3:22 left in the third quarter. Miami continuing to soar.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Principal Financial Group. We'll give you an edge. And smooth and refreshing Bud Light. Great taste, great times.
You get a good look at the ADT Championship Trophy with the national champion in this country. That will be out in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Who will be the two combatants? You know, it's everybody says it. It's not cliche-ish. Still a lot of ball to play. And today has proven UCLA has fallen. Tonight, undefeated, 8-0 Virginia Tech at home, down 20-0. But still, it's a very realistic thing that they could mount a comeback. But Miami's defense playing very, very well.
When you talk about Miami, all of a sudden you have to start thinking back to that season opener against Florida State. Larry Coker said it best. You don't want to play those kind of games first, but you have no choice but to play those kind of games. But Miami, Florida State, the first week of the season run, that's tough. And that is their only loss, obviously, so far this season.
Mike Emu is the man back deep, along with David Clowney. Brian Monroe to kick it off. 20-0. And shocked crowd here in Blacksburg. This one bobbled for the moment, and Emu's going to bring it out. Whoa. Should have stayed in the end zone. He is tackled as he crosses the 10-yard line. Now here is a look at tonight's ACC update presented by Dr. Pepper. In the Coastal Division, Virginia Tech 5-0, Miami at 3-1.
And I go back, is it really fair for Miami and Florida State have to play that first football game of the season? That's tough. That's really like a bowl game the first week out. Interesting if Miami and Florida State run, maybe in the ACC championship game, see which teams improved since back in early September more than the other.
Well, the thing about it is Coach Bowden, you know, readily replies to that. I don't want to have to play them at the end of the year right next to the Florida game. Vick going to be hit, and he is sacked by Rocky McIntosh. 3 times that they have gotten to the Hokie quarterback.
And again, just tight coverage. Right there we see Kelly Jennings locked up on Justin Harper, and at the top Marcus Maxey locked up on number 87 David Clowney. These corners have flat locked down, Ron, these wide receivers from Virginia Tech tonight.
Kareem Brown is in the ball game, number 99, a junior out of Miami, playing at left defensive tackle. Running play, nothing going there. It's going to be another loss. Kareem Brown, the man I was just talking about, along with Orion Harris, combining on the stop, and a few boos coming from the crowd, which is really kind of surprising.
Wow. Not much of anything coming from that crowd right there. But you mentioned Kareem Brown, 99. When Miami says that's the most athletic defensive lineman we have, Ron, that's a pretty good compliment because there's some pretty good athletes down there. So number 99 at 310 pounds is for real now.
Yep. When they say, well, you're right. Those accolades go a long way. Third down, they're going to take it all the way out to the 21-yard line. Vick under pressure, hit, is going to be tackled in the end zone, lost the football. It is touchdown Miami. Kareem Brown, the young man I was just talking about who would come in, number 99, recovered for a touchdown. What a dream for a defensive lineman. And Javon Nathan is the man who knocked it away.
We just talked about Kareem Brown. You see the twist stunt, which is a signature at Miami. Number 657, Javon Nathan, forced it. He's the pass rush specialist. And Virginia Tech, we talked about non-offensive touchdowns, Ron. Virginia Tech, everybody talks about them, but Miami comes up with the first non-offensive touchdown tonight in this game.
So the play is under review. Let's take a look at it from Skycam.
A couple things we talked about. Marcus Vick holding that football out there. See him force that football out. Obviously trying to get out of the end zone, though.
Oh my. Well, there's a handful of people here from Miami, and they are standing. They're way down in the end zone to our right, to the south. Not in the end zone, but up high across the way. And they've started a chant of overrated. And I have a feeling that that's not going to set real well with this capacity house here this afternoon of Virginia Tech faithful.
Hard to argue it right now, though, and I think that play will stand. They're taking a long time to review it. That's the guy that really hopes it stands, because
Kareem is going to really throw a fit.
Don't take points off that board if you're Kareem now.
Not if you. I'd hate to be Jack Childress and have to face him.
Look at it again. The ball stripped out right there. I think it was stripped out by Kareem Brown, actually.
You saw him go after that football very quickly, and at 310.
After further review, the play stands as called on the field. Touchdown.
So if you want to wait for a moment, I'll tell you the score, and you may look and say, what in the world happened? This is a fumble in the end zone. It is 26-0 Miami, with Petty to try to make it a 27-0 ball game. And he does. So we're going to take a timeout. 1:43 left, third quarter. It's all Miami, 27-0. Shoulder pads is the code word. You need to enter it. 100yardblitz.com for your chance to win an HD TV. Good look at Kareem Brown there on the bench, getting a breather and also a little celebration. As you look at the takeaways, Miami with 4 points off takeaways, 17. No takeaways by Virginia Tech tonight, so obviously no points. Monroe kicks it off. Emu is back deep along to Clowney. You saw him just a moment ago, 87. And it's going to be Clowney at the goal line. 10, 15, gets outside at the 20, and is finally going to be stopped out around the 30-yard line. On Monday night, join Stuart Scott and company for the latest news and notes from around the National Football League leading up to kickoff. Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS on ESPN, 7:30 Eastern Time. Then at 9 o'clock, the undefeated Indianapolis Colts will face off against the defending Super Bowl champion New England Patriots on ABC's Monday Night Football.
That's a big-time weekend of football right there. But Ron, I just want to see the real Marcus Vick right now, because this is a talented guy.
You know, to say the wheels have come off is really an understatement.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 66 of the offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
See, passing 3 of 12, 33 yards, 1 intercept, 2 fumbles, 4 sacks. He's rushed 12 times for 9 yards, and actually he's rushed, you know, better than that, but sack yardage comes off of that. So it's showing right now the 12 for 9.
And entered this game, Ron, excuse me, number 2 in the entire nation.
Passing efficiency.
Passing efficiency.
That's right. First down and 15. Humes goes left side, going to take it for about 2, maybe 3 yards. John Beeson on the tackle.
You hear some boos. Can't really blame him. I mean, this is a frustrating night for everyone in this stadium from Virginia Tech. I mean, this stage was set, Ron. You had the entire nation set to watch this football game. Virginia Tech played last Thursday night, had 3 extra days of preparation. Miami coming to town where they've only won 1 of the last 5. Frustrating night, to say the least.
Under 1 minute to play, third quarter. It's King, the tight end, who was in motion. Pressure going to be hit. Ball is loose, recovered by Miami. Vick is down at the 21.
Ron, we talked about loose ball security. We also talked about backside speed of Miami, and right here you're going to see it. The little play action, Marcus Vick holding that football out there, and he gets whacked on the backside by number 47, Vegas Franklin.
Yeah.
They just keep bringing new numbers in there, but ball security, we talked about it early in the game. Look at him hold that football out there.
And here's another new name that made the recovery. Taraz McCray, number 54. He was injured back in the spring and hasn't played until now. They think highly of him as well. 1st and 10 inside the 30. Kyle Wright intercepted at the 12-yard line. Jimmy Williams.
Wow. He had Ryan Moore run wide open out there in the flat, and flat threw the ball to Jimmy Williams. You're going to watch the little play action on 1st and 10. Ryan Moore is going to be wide open up there, threw the football behind him.
Wow. I mean,
there's not much more to say than wow.
Ryan couldn't believe it. He's looking back saying, hey, I didn't have a jersey close to me. So the first turnover against Miami tonight. Brandon Orr, number 28, comes in a tailback. And they'll give it to him. Tries the right side. Stiff arm. Breaks it out 20. Going to be shoved out of bounds at around the 23-yard line by Kelly Jenkins. Or Jennings, I beg your pardon. Pretty good stiff arm on that play to gain the advantage. And let's check down on the sideline with Holly Rowe. Holly?
Well, guys, a lot of the Miami players took it very personally that they were the underdog going into this game and getting overlooked. We had a chance to talk to linebacker Rocky McIntosh, and I said, Rocky, Virginia Tech's defense getting all the publicity coming into this game. How do you feel about that? He said, well, I don't want to say too much, but let's just say the verdict will be in after the game. So far, the verdict's looking pretty good here in the fourth.
Holly, I was going to say, most all precincts are reporting right now, and we're still in the third quarter. 27-0. Miami shocking Virginia Tech. On 1st down. Running play breaks it open. And Orr with a gain of very close to 10 yards in the play. Brandon Merriweather. You know, the one thing yesterday that Steinspring, the offensive coordinator, said when we asked him about Brandon Orr, he said he brings an explosion to the ball game, and we've seen that on the last 2 runs, Bob.
They also said, Ron, they're not afraid to play him. Keep in mind he fumbled on Boston College's 3-yard line a week ago. This guy had 146 yards against Marshall. They say Brandon Orr is the most talented of the Virginia Tech tailbacks.
So we'll take a timeout. We head to the final 15 minutes. Miami 27 and the Hokies nothing. Welcome back to ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Polaroid. I'm Ron Franklin, along with Bob Davie and Holly Rowe from Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia. And the score is a shocking Miami 27 and the Hokies of Virginia Tech nothing. Frank Beamer's ball club favored by a touchdown coming into this ball game. 130 consecutive games without being shut out. Last time 10 years ago against Cincinnati. 2nd down and short. And they'll go straight ahead, and there's that explosion again from Brandon Orr. Redshirt freshman out of Chesapeake, played at Indian River.
And they compare this guy to a young Kevin Jones. That kind of ability, that kind of explosiveness.
Suggs as well. I think he brought up his name, didn't he, Bob?
He does.
That's some pretty good company right there. Or 4 carries, 36 yards, 9 yards per try. Timeout is called by Vic. Did he get it in time? Yeah, I don't see any flags down. The game clock was down to about 1 second. So we're going to go to break. 27-0. Be right back after this. Well, we're back. That's one of Bob Davie's tickets right there.
I'll tell you what, that purple hair looks a lot funnier and a lot better when you're ahead. When you're down 27-0, that purple hair looks bad now.
Well, actually, it's maroon. It was just
turned to purple.
It was the light. Well, actually, that hair was going back when he got to the game. It's going forward now. Vick going to go on top, and he's got a man. It is intercepted at the 5-yard line by Kelly Jennings. Clowney, the intended receiver. So 2 interceptions and 2 fumbles on Marcus Vick tonight.
Our most valuable player award goes to these Miami corners. That is textbook coverage right there, because Kelly Jennings was behind in the race a little bit. He didn't look back to the ball until he caught up and got in phase with the receiver. Then he became the receiver. These Miami Hurricane corners have put on a clinic tonight.
So Miami with a max protect here. They'll have 2 tight ends scrimmaging from their own 6, and they'll keep it on the ground. And Jones is Virginia Tech trying to rip the ball loose.
Ron, I'm going to go back and make this point about great corner play as you watch Kelly Jennings. They throw the takeoff route, and if you look right now, he's beat. There's some separation, but as we let this continue, he doesn't look back to the ball until he catches up with the receiver. Then he becomes the receiver. That is great coverage right there.
Randy Shannon has got to be extremely pleased with the effort so far tonight. About to go under 13 minutes to play in our ball game. Jones hammers it right up the middle. He'll take it to the 10.
I talked about the tradition at Miami is about great players. Larry Coker, a great story, Ron. We talked to him on the teleconference. They all come back and work out at the Miami weight facility in the summer. He said he looked up one day this summer. There were 11 former first-round draft choices in that weight room at one time. That's a lot of money, first of all. Combine those salaries.
There's a first-rounder right there for Virginia Tech, but 11 of them in the weight room at the same time,
one time
for the Miami Hurricanes. 3rd down, right. Throws it to Hill. Little screen pass, tries to take it up the sideline, and he'll have 2 more yards, and that's it. Let's see where they're going to spot this down. He is close to the first down, but if the right foot is where they're going to place that thing down, he's going to be just short. Rouse with his 12th tackle tonight.
I know you have complete confidence in our 1st and 10 line. So
Yeah,
I know you're going to go out on the limb right now and say it's short.
That's not on the limb. I mean, that's clearly short.
Out on the branch.
No, I'll say this is 3, maybe 4 links.
Excellent job of play calling tonight by Miami as well, Ron. Just the screens and the runs on the long passing situations.
Count the links. How many? Oh, that yellow line is just.
It's infallible.
Yeah, I mean it's not wrong. So Brian Monroe with the 4th punt of the night by Miami. 12 minutes 35 seconds left in the ball game. Will be kicking it away to Josh Morgan. His average tonight 46.7. Wow. In fact, the kicking game, we talk about the defense, but the defense, Bob, and the kicking game from Miami have been stellar performances tonight, don't you think?
Miami's kicking game has provided terrible field position to the Virginia Tech offense.
The boot, not a good one, off the side of his foot. Going to be taken at the 43 by Morgan. Tries to get to the sideline, does, and is pushed out of bounds immediately, and will hold it right here with 12:08 left to play in our ball game. Well, here's the Aflac trivia question. Which 3 players from Miami and Virginia Tech have won the Outland Trophy as the nation's best lineman? Here's a hint. Check pages 480 and 964 of the ESPN College Football Encyclopedia.
I'll give him a hint. One of those guys is in the stadium here tonight. You're going to have to go to the ESPN Encyclopedia to look up the remaining 2.
Okay. First down. Vick rolls the pocket. drills this one way too long. Intended for Clowney. You can see double coverage on him. It looks as though Marcus, when he saw what he had, which was not very much, he very wisely just threw it away.
Such a small margin for error when you play this Miami defense, because they have the combination, Ron, of tight coverage, which makes the quarterback hold the ball a little bit more, and they have great speed rushers coming up that field. So no margin for error.
3 of 14, 33 yards, 2 interceptions. And what's not on there also is 2 fumbles. 1 for a touchdown. The other resulted in a touchdown, or resulted in a field goal. I beg your pardon. This pass, well overthrown at the 3-yard line. And a few more groans coming from the crowd.
I think one thing to keep in mind, this isn't going to make them any less frustrated, but Eddie Royal, Virginia Tech's #1 and most explosive receiver, not in the game right now. But Miami's secondary, Ron, just outclassing and shutting down these wide receivers.
There's a look at Eddie right there, former high school player of the year in the state of Virginia. Scored in this game last year, a huge touchdown in a low-scoring affair, won by Virginia Tech, 16-10, down in Miami. Pressure. They set up the screen, got it out there to Orr, and Brandon's going to be pushed out of bounds right there on the Miami sideline. John Beeson got to him first.
Virginia Tech obviously going to go for it right here on 4th down. As we look at Frank Beamer, had his jersey retired, played cornerback here at Virginia Tech, and they retired that number 25 jersey.
There it is right there. I think Frank, he told me one time he weighed 165 pounds when he came out of high school. And he went to high school just not too far from here. That pass, incomplete, 35-30, Justin Harper, and he'll have the first down plus about 20 yards. Good for 22 on the play. Merriweather finally makes the stop.
First of all, you're going to see this quick snap release by Marcus Vick. I mean, he gets rid of that ball so quick. And then Justin Harper, the big wide receiver, makes the play. But watch this release, Ron. I mean, there is no wasted motion at all when he unloads that football.
I asked him that yesterday. I said, who taught you the quick release? And he said, nobody, actually. That's the way I've always thrown the football. I don't know if this is a broken play or not. You can see Orr slapping his hands together. There was supposed to be a play fake, and there was none. McIntosh comes over to make the tackle. Second down and 11 coming. Total yards in the ball game. Talk about even for Miami. 132 rushing, 136 passing for 268. And for Virginia Tech, 138 total. Marcus Vick right over the middle, got it to his tight end, and King will have the first down, except we've got not one but 2 flags down. One from the referee, one from the umpire. Somewhere in there, that's got to be a holding call, wouldn't you say?
It's either that or a late hit on the quarterback, but I think it will be, Ron. You're right.
Holding number 66 of the offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Will Montgomery, one of the veterans.
And penalties and turnovers have really hurt Tech. And we talked about coming into this football game, Virginia Tech 4th in the country in turnover margin, Miami 65th. Penalties, Miami twice as heavily penalized coming into this game as Virginia Tech. But you look at it there, it's about even on the penalties, and Miami dominating the turnover battle run.
New player into the lineup. He has played already tonight, but Calais Campbell is in at defensive end. But we're going to take a timeout. 27-0 Miami.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Polaroid and in part by Saturn.
A look inside of Michael Vick Hall. There's some beautiful new facilities here at Virginia Tech. Like I said, they called this stadium the house that Frank built, and Frank Beamer has been responsible for a lot of turnaround at this university. Now tonight is going to be one of those nights when he's going to go rest his head on the pillow and say, I want to forget this one as soon as I can. Vick with the pass, got it to the tight end King, and he'll be tackled at the 25. It'll be 3rd and 15.
And interesting, Ron, the Falcons play the Dolphins tomorrow.
That's right.
In Miami. So you know Michael probably taking a little ribbing from not only Miami alums but Miami fans down there. But he can be proud of this baby brother, because this baby brother is going to be a great one before he's done here.
Well, you see 12th in the NCAA, 36.8 points a game, and tonight being shut out. As we said, it's been 10 years. 10 years, 1995 since they were shut out. Stunt inside by those linemen. Vick with a hurdle, and he's not going to. Yep, he does hurdle one more time. Still on his feet, and is finally tackled at the 24-yard line by Oregon Harris.
Kind of an interesting little scheme right here. Randy Shannon. This is Baratka Atkins, the defensive end. They stand him up, use him kind of as an extra rusher. The twist stunt, and Marcus, put that ball away, please. Tuck that ball away. You're going to get another one stripped. But isn't it amazing how that's just an instinct for him, Ron, to carry that ball away from his body?
So it's 4th down, and they're going for it. They have to take it down to the 10-yard line to keep it alive. 8 minutes and 44 seconds and counting. That's what we have left in our ball game. 27-0 Miami. Vick throws it and got it complete at the 2-yard line to Clowney. 22 yards in the play. 1st and goal.
And they get a play. Miami playing 2 deep coverage that time. And the corner, Kelly Jennings, let Clowney run down that seam. One of the first times they didn't lock on and play man-to-man tonight. And Virginia Tech made a play against zone coverage, Ron.
So Brandon Orr, here's what they're trying to avert. 130 consecutive games being shut out. Orr not there for the handoff. Going to run it himself, and he scores the touchdown. And I'm not sure that one was drawn up that way either. But Marcus Vick takes it in, and they're going to avert the shutout with 8:06 left to play.
And they get to use the fireworks.
Brandon Pace to attempt the extra point, trying to make it a 27-7 ball game. And he does. So we're going to go to break. 8:06 remaining in our ball game, and it's 27-7 Miami over Virginia Tech. As you take a look at Marcus Vick, and he'll take it the 2 yards and score. So some merriment here at the stadium. A few folks have headed to the exits, but a whole bunch of hearty souls are still in the stadium saying, hey, we don't give up. We still got 8 minutes and 6 seconds left to play in this ball game. And it's now 27-7.
You have to think onside kick right here. Miami with their onside receiving team on the field. A lot of wide receivers and
the good hands team. Well, Pace is lined up to kick it, but it is not going to be him. It's Schmidt with the pooch kick, and the ball is loose. Now let me ask you this: was he hit before the ball got down to him? Because that is illegal on a pooch kick. It's going to go to Miami. There was no flag thrown, but you can't gang one person to knock the ball loose before it gets there.
Yeah, but I think the ball hit the ground first and bounced up in the air. I'd like to see it again. And wow, what a lick right there by Virginia Tech. Xavier Adibi, boy, he put a lick on him, and Miami very fortunate right there. And the Miami player down.
Jennings, I think, who not only received the football. Yeah, it is. It's Kelly.
You talk about the good hands team out there. Obviously, Kelly Jennings had a great night at corner. You can see what kind of hands he has because he's a part of that football, that onside team. And right there, that ball bounces off the ground, bounces up in the air. A great executed onside kick. Good to see him up, Ron. He's had a heck of a night, these two corners.
He really has. He really has. So Miami comes out 8:03 left to play in the ball game. They own a 20-point lead. And again, it's Charlie Jones lining up at tailback. Hill, the fullback, they give it to Jones, and he tripped at the line of scrimmage. He's going to have about 3 yards, and a flag is down. Which 3 players from Miami and Virginia Tech have won the Outland Trophy as the nation's best linemen? Well, here they are. As Bob mentioned, Bruce Smith in the house, Brian McKinney from Miami, and Russell Maryland of Miami in years 2001 and 1990, respectively. And there's a look at Bruce right there. 2-time All-American, 83 and 84.
This crowd is staying in it. 27-7, 7 minutes and 45 seconds left.
A Northwestern came from behind today and won an impossible one. Straight ahead, Jones fights his way, gets the 5 yards back that they lost on the penalty. A DB on the stop. It's going to be 2nd down and 10.
I've been impressed how hard these Miami tailbacks. Keep in mind the #1 tailback Tyrone Moss injured early in the game. Charlie Jones has been impressive with his opportunities.
You know, both of the young running backs that were not expected to play a lot tonight. Brandon Orr for Virginia Tech as well. Shows you something about depth and also about future. Jones again, little stutter step this time, maybe a half yard, and that is it.
Ron, Charlie Jones comes into this game only 34 carries all year, and right there you see his change of direction and his leg strength. About 5'10", 205 pounds, right out of Homestead, Florida, South Dade High School. A highly recruited player, like all of them, wearing that Hurricane uniform, and I've been impressed with him. The only problem he has is keeping that helmet on.
Keeping the headgear on is right. So it's 3rd down. Hill lines up at tailback. As Charlie Jones is over there having his shoulder pads adjusted. And here comes Hill, bounces it outside, 50, 45, puts a head down, and that one is huge. That's going to be a 1st down, Miami.
Again, Miami on 3rd and 10 comes with the conservative call to run. And right here, you're going to watch Xavier Adibi, the linebacker, gets caught inside right here, loses contain.
Greg Olson with a good block. Gain of 15, and that moves the chains for the Hurricanes. 6 minutes and 2 seconds showing on the clock. And let's go back to the studio. Reese Davis.
All right, Ron, double overtime between Florida and Vanderbilt. First possession of the second overtime for Chris Leak and the Gators. Great catch by Jamal Cornelius, 49-42, so now Vanderbilt has a chance. Jake Cutler, 4 touchdown passes on the night, but he is picked off by Reggie Lewis, and Vanderbilt, valiant effort, but they fall in double overtime, 49-42 to Florida.
Well, an opportunity that Vanderbilt got and being on the road down in the swamp. And boy, that one could really have thrown a monkey wrench in the teams, as they said, in the East and the West, preparing to go to the SEC championship game on Saturday the 3rd.
Well, let's talk about that matchup. Florida next week goes to Columbia, South Carolina, plays a Steve Spurrier team that's won 4 straight. Maybe Urban Meyer's worst nightmare going into Columbia with so much focus on that game.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. Coach Spurrier's never had problems putting the bullseye on on one team when they prepared to play against them, and I'm sure that's going to be the case next Saturday. And obviously now that the quarterback is back, and you know they're a better football team again. This situation right here, 6:02 remaining. 27-7, and that the first down picked up by Hill just a moment ago, absolutely huge. Virginia Tech might not see the football again tonight. Hokies have no timeouts remaining. Here's Jones. They stretch it out. He's going to fight his way for about 5 yards of the play. Big Eric Winston out there blocking. By the way, to complete a story, we talked in the first half about Eric. He was a tight end. They converted him to offensive tackle, as you see Jones limping off the field. There's a good look at Eric right there. Out of Midland Lee, and he won a state championship. Played at Royal Memorial Stadium in Austin. Cedric Benson with over 150 yards in that championship game. But I asked him, we were talking the other day, Bob. I said, hey, do you remember the defensive back for Westlake High School of Austin who made over 20 tackles in there? He said, you bet I do. Maybe one of the toughest guys I ever played against. He was talking about Houston Street, who now pitches for the Oakland A's and had such an outstanding year. And let's go down to the sideline in Holly Rowe. Holly?
Well, Ron, you're talking about Eric Winston, and what people don't remember is that he actually played quite a bit of tight end in that national championship run in the game that they lost to Ohio State. He said, though, he was so sick of eating salads because it was all he could do to keep his weight under 270 pounds. He's like, I was done eating all those salads. I just realized that genetically it just wasn't going to work out at tight end. But he says that he's blessed now to move out to tackle. He thinks he's going to make a little bit more money there in the NFL.
You know, people joke about that, but Holly, I'll tell you what, you're right on. He's going to make a lot more money. Got the great feet of a tight end, but he's a lineman. Good pass by Wright. Zings it down to the 19-yard line to Sonoris Moss. 16 yards in the pass play.
And as you look at Miami moving forward, Ron, excellent athleticism right here by Kyle Wright. Throws the ball on the run to the left, but I think the jury's still out a little bit on Kyle Wright. He's still a young guy. Miami able to really win this game without him having to make many plays. Great defense, ability to run the football. He's improving, but still not sure he can make plays when he has to make plays.
13 of 21 for him. Try to stretch the field out a little bit. And Reese Davis, let's go back to the studio and check in with you.
All right, Ron, we're down to 3 unbeatens once you guys get done, and the Trojans not having any trouble. Against Stanford, first quarter, Leinart had all day to throw Lindale White into the end zone, and 24-0 early in the second quarter there. UCLA falls from the ranks of the perfect 52-14, a beat down by Arizona, and Oregon beats Cal in overtime. Ducks only lost to SC.
Hey, Reese, by the way, on Lindale White, this looks as though they're going to keep their record perfect. Unless he scored another one tonight, that gives him 40 career touchdowns. Everybody talks about Reggie, but Lindale White is going to go very high in the NFL draft when he goes.
But we start this day with so much BCS national championship talk. We talk about Virginia Tech need to win impressively, kind of a beauty contest to impress the human vote, the Harris poll and the coaches poll. Now when all this dust settles, Ron, today, it is clearly USC and Texas, who going into Waco, Texas today and beating the Baylor Bears 62-0. Great bounce back from last week after the Oklahoma State close win up in Stillwater.
Horns were impressive. No doubt about that. Under 2:40 to play. 27 Miami, 7 for the Hokies. Hokies were favored. It has been all Hurricanes tonight. And I go back to the term that we used coming back in the second half, and that is just a smothering performance. And I think that's the only way you can put it.
And I thought you brought up a great point in the break of talking about the proponents of a playoff system. Miami loses the first game of the year to Florida State. Held them to 170 yards, but lost the game. Enter Miami in a playoff at the end of this season 3 weeks from now. Miami may end up being the best team in college football this year, but because of the early loss, Ron, they're not going to get the opportunity to do that now.
Well, that's where, you know, when I say it readily, that's where basketball has got it all over football. And football needs to wake up and wise up. I mean, you don't die in basketball when you lose 1 or 2 basketball games. You still can come out and win the national title. Coming up next on ESPN Sports Center, John Anderson, Steve Levy. Eagles suspend T.O. UCLA falls from the ranks of the unbeaten, and the Miami Heat play without Shaq. Pass for the end zone. Too far, incomplete. Sonoris Moss, the intended receiver. Well, tonight's Miller Moment flashback brings us back to 2003. That's when number 11 ranked Virginia Tech visited number 2 Miami. Virginia Tech jumped out 7-0 on this D'Angelo Hall recovery of a Miami fumble, and then he returns it. 28 yards for the score. That was the first of 2 decisive touchdowns. Marcus Vick subbing for Brian Randall connects with Ernest Wilford, and the final score in that one, 31-7. Hokies snap Miami's 39-game regular season win streak.
And Ron, I don't think anybody really saw this coming tonight.
I don't either.
I don't think anyone did. I mean, Virginia Tech was so much momentum, tremendous atmosphere here in Blacksburg.
Vick pumped it once, going to go on top. Got him out there, but it's overthrown. Josh Morgan. Holly Roll, let's check in with you.
Well, guys, the last time Miami was here, it was such a brutal loss. Kyle Wright and Tyrone Moss were actually on the sideline as redshirt players, and they spoke amongst themselves and said, let's remember this feeling. We don't ever want to feel like this again. And now as starters, they had a chance to do something about it tonight. Of course, Moss going down in the first half with the injury, but Kyle Wright, an efficient performance to revenge that loss.
Okay, Holly. You know, Bob, one of the other things we talked about during the timeout that is not taken into consideration. Georgia lost their quarterback. All right, now he's back. What if they win out the rest of the way, but they got that one loss when they didn't? That's where the human side of a committee would make a difference rather than computers.
Well, I guess the argument on the other side of that, Ron, proponents of the current system say every game in college football matters. There is no margin for error. It's not like you can lose and come back and get in the conference tournament at the end of the year. You lose, you're out. So at some point, every game is like sudden death playoff.
But to reiterate what Bob had mentioned earlier, the way things are shaping up right now, if everybody takes care of business, they could wind up facing Florida State in the last regular season game, so to speak. Maybe the championship game, but it'll be the first and the last. That's certainly not out of the question now.
And again, I think we have to say something about this performance of this Miami defense. Randy Shannon, the defensive coordinator, played at Miami, played in the NFL, coached in the NFL. One consistent there has been all year has been this Miami defense, and I applaud Randy Shannon. That was a great job tonight, just shutting down this Virginia Tech offense.
I'll tell you something else. At the beginning of the ball game, or just before they started play, the teams are out on the field loosening up. Larry Coker was almost sprinting across the field, patting every one of his players on the back of the headgear, on the back, trying to say, hey, I'm fired up. I hope you're as fired up as I'm fired up. And they were. This pass just a little too long. Time now to take a look at our Polaroid image of the game. Miami's defense, first quarter. Watch what happens. Vick surprised from behind. That led to a field goal, and it led to the first lead of the night by Miami, 3-0. And right now they stand 27-7 with 17 ticks left.
I don't think we're going to sell many of those Polaroid images.
Not here.
In this stadium tonight. But that did say it all right there. It's going to be a happy flight home as you see some of the flag bearers over there from Miami about ready to come out and claim this field, I think, when this thing's over, Ron. Big Kareem Brown right there.
Marcus Vick sacked 5 times tonight. That is a season high. He was held to 8 of 22 with 2 interceptions for just 90 yards. And this one's going to go in the record books as not just a Miami victory, but a very sound Miami victory. So our final score is Miami 27 and Virginia Tech 7. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Coming up next, it's Sports Center. And over on ESPN News, it is post-game extra. Now for Bob Davie, Holly Rowe, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Ron Franklin. Good night, everybody, from Blacksburg, Virginia.